Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Just a quick note, we're looking for some reversal signals seen that the market start off to the downside, so we'll see if these signals actually confirm, as they have not yet, right? We're just aware of it, but that has not confirmed at this moment. So it's something to pay attention to for now. And if you wanted to learn how to find little signals like this, because if this does produce this up to the upside, we could see a solid move here. That's going to be the courses down in the description, guys. The prices are not going back down to that price, so 90% off. You can get the technical indicators course and the swing trading course for a whole $150. It's literally 90% off of both of those courses down in the description. I would highly suggest you look into those if you're trying to learn a little bit more about the MACD, about divergence, about these weekly ranges, and about overall stock market behavior and how we find bounces with weakness in momentum. Right now we're seeing one of those signals, so it would pay off to know how to trade those type of signals. And right here we see this has not crossed over, so we're starting out the day going to the downside. What does that mean? That means this 15-minute might be rolling over briefly. We can pay attention to that and see as we have some daily expected moves. Since we're heading down, maybe we pay attention to 471.09 to the downside. To the upside, we'll pay attention to 479.59 to the upside. So we will pay attention to a lot going into today. Hopefully you guys have some good stuff prepped and ready to go. I'm pretty pumped for a good day this morning. I think we're going to have a fun market so far. I mean, the thing is, when we're just doing this for a long time, I genuinely like when we actually start to experience some movement. Like, I don't like the squeeze behavior. I was part of it. I made money off it, but I still like a more interesting market. Maybe it's my ADHD. I don't know. But that's what I'm looking for there. We noticed that Amazon starting to curl down just a little bit as well, going towards that 174.51. This is one that had the reversal signal slightly confirmed. So if you were looking at this and you said, okay, this has to go up, just remember to manage that trade early on, right? Managing the trade early on can help. This 15-minute could cross down again, and that might mean something really bad is going to happen. But it could also mean, hey, we're going to do some kind of double bottom, something like that could form in that area. Another one that we were paying attention to actually was AMD. I think AMD with the 30-minute signal here, not really showing that well on the MACD, but you can see it down there on the RSI, just slightly up there. So if this one wanted to turn around, that would make some sense as well. If this could curl up, you can see a solid move, but make sure we're managing that trade. That has not confirmed yet. It's a big deal. Now, Microsoft was another one showing a pretty damn good signal. Now, this one definitely confirmed. Closed kind of at the high of the last bar there on the 30-minute chart, and we're noticing that did confirm. So if this does roll over on a 15-minute, that would tell me, hey, maybe this just isn't the right timing just yet. And if that quickly turned over and turned back up, okay, maybe the timing was a little bit better over in this area. So those are a few that I'm paying attention to. We obviously have to keep our eye on things like Nvda. That thing is starting to come down pretty fast, actually. I mean, a pretty decent move down, right? Another 1% down to start the morning. Maybe we go down into this zone one more time, right? Or we could just curl up this MACD at any point, and then guess where we would be? Positive territory. So positive territory, positive move. At this moment, you look like you've created some kind of structure. If we can burst through that, we could see a solid move, maybe even up to something like 140. Meta was the one that we said, hey, this one has the weakness at the highs. We saw the 2-hour divergence. The daily can roll over. So this one we more want to look at for weakness. If it's going to experience, well, look at that wick. That's a pretty good wick. We're going right back down to that area. So we're going to get another test of that 20 as of right now. We'll see if that is able to build up over time. This is the approval for Bitcoin index options. Interesting. Good morning. Hey, Jay, how's it going? Some price of video. I don't like the little push up this morning. Can you look at it for me? XPEV. Yeah, let's see if there's some major reversal happening here. Well, that's not reverse. That's just continuation of the trend. So what's happening here is you're not really seeing pullbacks on the 30-minute time frame. You had the tapering. So what's most likely happening in here is you got a 2-hour that curled up really close to the center line right here. And now you're going positive, which tells me the daily most likely has curled up. So the reason that I don't like to short things when they have, like, just recently, even mainly I just say when they've crossed up one day on their MACD, is just because the daily momentum can take over. And I think that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing those shorter time frames kind of become irrelevant for a moment, meaning that 30-minute is just going to see another move higher, get even higher up on this MACD. So the daily scale is scaling up. Now, that can lead to a pullback at any time, but there were no real good short signals even on the 30-minute time frame. If anything, you were hoping, okay, maybe this area here is where you make some kind of handle for a moment. But for the most part, you would say daily momentum's taking over. The most likely thing is this thing heads to the upside. All right, looking at the daily, where could we go to? Well, it could be testing that 50. It could be testing the Bollinger. We could be spreading that Bollinger out. There's a lot because we didn't break down with this little breakdown area. Where else could you react? I think a reaction all the way up to the most recent breakdown area would be where we would react to something like $8, which kind of coincides with that Bollinger Band. So I think this will be your big test for this one. Obviously, if you're looking for a trade to the upside, you need that 30-minute to actually pull back. This never even curled down, so you never even got like a hint of, I mean, obviously it's overbought, so you would want to go, okay, a pullback's what I'm looking for, but does that mean you trade the pullback? Because this pullback could have just went like this for a second and then curled right back up. So if I'm looking at this one, I'm going, okay, if a 30-minute can kind of do this for a minute and then curl up, then I have a trade set up, but I don't know, like, there's just no reversal signals in here. Okay, that's all I could tell you. And I'm sorry that's the case, but overall, there's no reversal signal here. So the daily momentum can just continue to take over. If you start to see some kind of quick little look like this, some kind of big move like this, and that 30-minute curls over pretty steep, you could look for a 15-minute divergence for like a 30-minute pullback, but for the most part, not a lot of reversal signals from this. Looks like heading up and continuing to head up as of right now. AMC ended up closing flat. After all that hoopla, AMC started closing flat, and it did not curl up that daily MACD. That's a bummer. That's all you can say there. That's a bummer. That's it. Alrighty, I think the big signal though is still the Q, seeing what this does early on in the day. Noticing, I mean, that was in the pre-market down to this level. And if we go look at the, you know, this is showing down 0.43. But if we look at the futures, really showing a 30-minute divergence, could still curl up that 2 hour. That 2 hour has rejected. But maybe this is just another moment to reload, and then it ends up going to the upside. Okay, so, you know, you might think, oh, this is horrible, we're down 0.5%. But technically, with the futures market, you're only down 0.18 for today. So this could just be a dip down to find some buyers. We'll find out. We'll find out pretty early on. But overall, the 30-minute signal in the Qs is what I really want to pay attention to. I think this could be a decent signal. If we just cross up, I'm really happy with it. Oh, Palantir. Yeah, let's go look at Palantir. That thing's dropping off. Now, the thing with Palantir is, what do we say? $29 to $30. $29 to $30. 2 hour pullback, right? Down to $29 to $30. All right, so you're looking in this area at 29, you're looking at this area at 30, and you're going, okay, somewhere in there we could find some buyers. Am I seeing basing out signals? Not necessarily. So we could experience a time where we hit $30, maybe we bounce up for a second, then we go down to 29, and you see that tapering come in, because right now you're kind of just falling a little down. So for Palantir, what you're mainly looking for is the 2 hour to curl back up into positive territory. Pretty much a swing trade is what I'm looking for from Palantir. Anywhere between 29 and 30 that can base out. I don't care about catching the perfect price. I care about, is this curling back up? Is this crossing on this MACD? Because if you cross on this MACD, you got plenty of room to the upside, plenty of room to go test the high, go make a new one. So if that can happen, that's a good sign. Right now, that's not happening. So we have to kind of zoom out and look at dailies and say, if this doesn't hold up, say today, and this continues into tomorrow, you can experience a daily pullback. Maybe you need some time to consolidate really, and then head higher over time, making some later on cup and handle or something like that with earnings, right? This can take a lot of time if that daily starts to cross over. So as far as it goes though, great setup. We were talking about the highs in here being, you know, we started talking about here, August 15th. We go a little bit higher. Okay, timing was a little off. That's fine. That happens all the time. And then we said still we're looking for that 29, that 30 price point to get tagged. As of right now, you're tagging that level. There we go. My thing was messing up for a sec. Are you keeping your AMC calls? Yeah, I'm going to keep them because they're a month out. I'm not trying to catch the actual perfect time and think that the technicals are going to call it perfectly. I think that this is a great signal that you're seeing that cross up, it hits top Bollinger and it immediately gets fought against. I think they're worried about it right now is what I think. You're still closing above all the moving averages, so I'm in no way going to sell that thing right now. I'm going to sit and chill and see if we can start to do that. But I have a longer out expiration, so it makes sense for me to do so. Looks like it's going to be another boring day. I mean, it hasn't been the most boring. We got to be at least thankful that we're getting some 30-minute moves, right? We're getting some 30-minute moves back and forth. I kind of like that for the most part. I kind of like the fact that it's at least ripping around a little bit. So you're seeing the Qs buy back up. All we have to do is watch it this morning. See if in the first like hour or so of the day, because you don't want it to go past probably the first hour, because then you can start to maybe head down a little too much and kind of get rid of the divergence, get rid of the divergence on the RSI. So really what we're looking for is probably this to start to move up pretty quick, I would say, in the first hour of the day. But if that doesn't happen, then we know exactly what's going on, right? You're in more of a, what? A 4-hour pullback at that point, right? But we got some pretty good wicks in here. I think it's got a good shot. I don't like 4-hour charts for a reason. I think 2 hours and 30 minutes are better to pay attention to. Volatility as well, able to scale up just a little bit here. We'll see if this proves to be anything as that 2-hour. You notice this 2-hour starting to cross up. Okay, so 2 hours starting to cross up here. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. Remember, if this daily starts to cross up, that's when we really got to pay attention. But that 2-hour crossing up, first little signal that, hey, we could see some upside. Let's see if that's able to fade throughout the day. As we look over at the dollar, we're noticing that still staying steady, kind of consolidating here, looking like what? Well, right now it's negative, and the stock market's a little bit negative, so we can pay attention to it. But is that overall going to be like the key thing to watch all day? Yeah, we'll find out. We'll see how that PCC comes out. I should get a bell and ring it. Yeah, we should have like a opening bell song. All right, let me pull some stuff up here real quick, and I'll look at the chat in a moment. What does it mean if they come in at a loss? What does it mean if they come in at a loss? Well, it more so, and I hate to say this, but this is how a lot of things have behaved. It's more so about the price action after. It's more so about how people react. All right, yeah, that's the kind of sad truth there. It's like, it's because how earnings works is it doesn't mean if the numbers are bad, the stocks go down, right? It means if the numbers are bad and they say bad things and they give bad reasons for their, revenues or whatever going down, that's when you can see the bad reaction down, right? So it's kind of rough, and that's why I don't like to play earnings, is just because, at least a lot of the time, I don't like to play earnings, just because it's like, okay, we're finally going to see, I don't know, bad numbers for Nvda, but if they say, but our projections for the next month look like this is just a slow period for us and we're going to see more growth going forward, they say something like that, well, that's going to give investors encouragement. So it's more so about, what are things doing before? What are things doing right after? That's more what I'd be paying attention to, is actually the after part. SPY, if you didn't have those weekly or those daily expected moves for the day, I apologize. 563.73 to the upside, of you have 557.79 to the downside. Still in positive territory. That's why I think this first little bit of the day is actually pretty important. I think the first hour of the day will tell us a lot. We notice what, that 15-minute, not able to curl over just yet. If it does, then we'd say, hey, that daily expected move downside, most likely option. As of right now, all of this could be behaving as, well, some kind of trap. The dollar's slightly going down while this happens. This hasn't crossed over, so no reason to be scared of anything just yet. Tesla is ripping. Yeah, Tesla was one on the 30-minute. Look like what? It's going to cross up. All right, cross up right here. This is one that we were talking about live. 30-minute crosses up. Good things can happen. Nvda is probably one that's starting to come back. So we retested that 125 level. Now we're coming back. Let's look over at Amazon real quick. Amazon down still, so going lower actually. And then the other one we were paying attention to was Microsoft still coming down. So you're having Tesla and Nvidia look like they are heading to the upside. At least for now. We'll see if Nvidia can fully build it back. AMD, solid move here. Remember, this one has divergence behind it. So 30-minute is crossing up for AMD. I would pay close attention to that. These things can really start to help out the market. Yeah, every time I do this, it tries to fucking so annoying. Like things aren't catching up with the price action. It's so annoying, dude. All right. You think Alibaba? Alibaba this morning, see if that 30-minute can cross up. A little bit flaggy in here, that's for sure. Up at the highs, you probably have some kind of 2-hour divergence. So I'd still be looking for, 2-hour curl ups, 1-hour curl ups, 30-minute curl ups, things like that. But you have to be aware that's a 2-hour divergence. If this daily scale rolls down, that's going to be a bad sign. All right, so if that daily scale rolls down, not going to be a good sign for BABA. Right? Has that happened yet? No, it hasn't happened yet. But you do see the small divergence on the RSI. That's the 2-hour divergence that's within these two highs. So that daily can experience a little bit more of what I would say a pullback. Pretty good trend going up like this. That starts to break. Maybe you pull down, test that 200. Who knows? For the most part, just paying attention to little curl ups, but at the same time, there's no real reversal signals just yet. Maybe a 2-hour swing trade, but if that daily rolls over, that's not going to be a good sign. Dollar is starting to come down just a little bit while the market is down. Volatility starting to subside just a little bit. I know, Lurkin Luke, I know. I was like, that video was, I felt like that video was just terrible. I was in a hurry. My wife wasn't feeling the best, so I made her some food real quick, came downstairs. I was like, I got like 10 minutes to do some kind of video. I was like, let's just show people some signals that are out there. And I mean, if you were paying attention, AMD was one of those signals. We'll see if that can confirm in 22 minutes. Microsoft's one that kind of fell off after confirming. Got to pay attention to that. And then Amazon's falling off while also confirming. So you did have some things this morning that were kind of like, I'm glad we said it more so last night, because these can still provide some good positivity, but we did get rid of that tapering a little bit. So I don't like that look too much. But the main one was the Qs. What do the Qs do this morning? And I think that's what we need to pay attention to. Just more so, what are the Qs doing? Are they heading up? Are we seeing a cross up? Are we seeing this stuff start to prove? Because right now we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing things kind of come down, right? We're seeing it start to break down. And we need to pay attention to something like how the PCC comes out. Are people going to open up very, very bearish and then get trapped or something like that here in about 10 minutes? Why does my screen keep doing that? Let me get out of some stuff over here. I don't know what's going on with my Caputa. All right, let's get out of that. This morning, we do get at 9 a.m. the consumer confidence, okay? So we will get consumer confidence here in about 20 minutes. We can pay attention to that going forward. Then we'll get the money supply. in a couple of hours. But tomorrow is going to be maybe an okay day, but the next day is where we want to pay attention, because we'll get not only the reaction from Nvidia's earnings, but we'll also see at 7:30 the GDP growth rate. And I think that'll be a very big deal. So we'll pay attention. We'll see what's going on there. AMC, the 2-hour, was able to roll back up. Let's go check on that for just a brief moment here. Look at that 30-minute. We'll see if that's able to roll back up. 2-hour here, rolling up, okay? It wasn't able to confirm back down for this 2-hour just yet. So we're chilling on it. That's what I'm doing, at least. I'm chilling on it for now. Saying, okay, you want to head to the upside? Well, we need that daily cross up, and look how close that is. Just a tiny, tiny bit more positivity. And that thing heads to the upside. Maybe that is going to be a reason for the market really suffering. You know, we can think about that for a minute. Maybe that is going to be the reason this daily is able to cross, and we're going to see something crazy to the downside. You have to take that into consideration. Be open to pretty much every single scenario. Starting to violate a lot of what's going on down here for the Qs. So we're heading towards a daily expected move. That's not going to be a good look, right? So some of these reversal signals not confirming, the most important one being the Qs not confirming. And that's a big deal. SPY heading to the downside. Looks like we're going towards a daily expected move to start out the morning. We'll see what happens going forward. But as the SPY keeps moving down, volatility is starting to pick up as well. Crossing up on the 2-hour. 2-hour cross up, what you really need to pay attention to. Now, if we do something like this, we see that 2-hour pop like this start to fade. We get a little divergence in here. All of this could just be some kind of consolidation. You know, this thing runs a little bit more, so a 4-hour would make sense if that wanted to curl over with a 2-hour divergence, but that's going positive as well. So are we just finding a top right now? That is potential. If we see this daily cross, we would have a good scenario for some kind of top showing itself to us as of this moment, but a lot can happen throughout the week. All right, a lot can happen throughout the week. All right, we get growth rate, we get the GDP, we get Nvidia earnings to save the market potentially, right? So if they don't want the market to go down, if they want the market to go down, they just let it go. If they don't, then they act like Nvidia earnings was great. It doesn't look that great for AMC, and I'd have to agree with you on that until I see that daily cross up. If I see that daily cross up, I'm a little happier, but for the most part, no. Dow still going higher, really just consolidating here, not showing the extreme weakness come in just yet. So that's something to pay attention to. As the market drops off dramatically, what's the Dow doing? It's kind of chilling. It's not doing too much. IWM, this one here, really starting to drop off, okay? Starting to drop off here in the middle of the zone. So that's interesting. You might have little divergences in here. But nope, no real divergences in here. Just if this would roll over too dramatically, then you might have yourself a lower high on the daily scale. Tesla going up, going back down. So Tesla can't make up its mind, it seems, right? Tesla going up, said, I'm going to go, and then came all the way back down. So right now starting to drop down to lower levels. And GME still dropping at this moment, by the way, going down to about $21 there. Most important signal to pay attention to throughout your day, though, is right here. And you got to pay attention to it now as that MACD starts to roll down. Do we get rid of these little divergences here on the RSI and the MACD at the same time? That would be a big deal. But we did see yesterday that dollar still coming up to higher levels, holding at higher levels, so a downward move does still make sense. We'll see how that PCC works out this morning. See if any kind of moves happen there. I think the PCC could give us a hint of how people are positioned, how much people are really, you know, digging into, hey, this is going to crash down. That's what we can get from the PCC. See a little bit of that mentality. Might turn on some tunes. Nah, no tunes today. No tunes today. Let's stay focused. Just chug some coffee for a brief moment here while we're chilling, watching the day. 15 minutes until we get a little piece of data. Is this a rigged move? As of right now, you would want the dollar falling off a little more than this. You would want the dollar falling off a little more than this. Why is that? Well, the 30 minutes crossing up, the 2-hour already crossed up with divergence underneath it. So if this is all consolidation, this 2 hour is not going to roll back down then that would tell me, oh, maybe this is a bad moment, right? We'll get that reaction probably in about 15 minutes once we get the consumer confidence. But if this 2 hour rotates down and we see, you know, the stock market going down with it, then we could say, okay, there's probably going to be some kind of bounce. Once that market bounces, and then we see that dollar kind of turn back around while it bounces, that's when we could say, okay, now we're seeing these rigged moves show themselves. They're not really showing themselves this morning, though. You are barely down on the dollar while the stock market is lower. Barely. That's not enough right now. Oh, mom's home. We took Toby to the groomers. That boy's stinky. That old man's stinky. Yeah, and I'm guessing it's just going to sit there. I mean, it's already getting some good momentum signals on the 2 hour still remaining crossed up for now, not crossing back down. That's a good sign. But, you know, a lot of the time the problem happens when it shows itself. It's on a Monday. Because as we get closer and closer to Friday, they want to keep this thing at $5. So really, it's early on in the week. Can you burst this thing higher? That didn't really happen here. Most likely, you might need GME to get in on that as well as that tries to curl over on a daily MACD. That wouldn't be a good sign before earnings. That would mean downside, right? So you need that to start to whip back around, kind of reject that crossover. But AMC, you see how close that is. It just needs one good day. And yesterday was that day, and we see the stock get fought a little bit. It's unfortunate. Just going to click around real quick, make sure nothing is crossing over on the daily that I'm missing. Tesla being pretty weak there, Nvda being pretty weak. Maybe, just maybe, we need to set up a divergence. Maybe we're going to see something bad again to convince people it goes lower. We'll see. We have to be open to a lot of things. Meta is curling down right now with that daily. If we don't want that to happen, we want to buy a tiny bit of time, then Meta's going to need to turn around today, that's for sure. Microsoft, man, that thing needs to turn around. Google, that one looks the weakest, I would say. It looks very, very flaggy. So I'd be paying attention to Google for the downside, actually. That was one that in the video last night, I just briefly was like, Google's one reason I'm kind of like, oh, got to pay attention to downside because of that look. So that's one thing to pay attention to. The other thing, though, is just keeping in mind the main signals we're watching here are going to be the Qs, right? We're going to see if this MACD, if this RSI starts to get fully violated. Looks like we're coming down just a little bit lower. As we blow up this here, it looks like we're starting to violate that level. So you would like this to buy back up over the next 14 minutes, really. You would like this to start to go like that over the next 15 minutes. We'll see if that actually happens. That's the thing, because as we're so close to a daily expected move, you usually gravitate towards it. Then you see something happen. We're kind of gravitating towards it right now. That's what it overall showing. PCC falling about 1. Okay, so this means people are dramatically to that put side. If we see the dollar start to drop off, that would be a good hint of what's to come in about 15 minutes. So we're seeing that PCC open up just a pretty high 1, so it's right on my red line. So that tells me a lot of people positioned to the put side. What does that tell us about the market maker? The market maker would be able to shoot this thing higher, right? Cause those calls to come in, and then we'll see what happens. For now, though, we're seeing that high put ratio, so more to the put side, which just tells us the SPY actually does, if the market maker wants to do something rigged, it would be send stocks higher. So pay attention if these 30 minutes cross up. Rivian trying to pull it up on the daily. Okay, let's go check that out for a brief moment here. Seeing a 30-minute pullback, that's good. Daily scale is turning up, but is that the best bar? Is that the best bar? No, I'd more so just want to see, is that bar closing a little bit green? Then I can be more confident with it, but great close above the 200. You got above it on the RSI. That's a key thing as well. You're just waiting for that MACD. So you have all the signals in this area. It looks like you're just consolidating. So what does that tell me? That tells me something very simple. If this 30-minute consolidates further, right, and then just curls up, that would mean, okay, now we have positivity back and daily momentum is with us, so a big move can happen. I don't know why my screen keeps messing up. I have to keep double clicking on something, but I do like that look. Let's look at the daily, see if you had a reversal. Not really reversal signals in here, just kind of a beat down all the way down into the gap support area. We used it as support. Looks like we have the 2-hour divergences, boom. Curled up, positivity, so pretty good move so far. I like it. Doesn't look too bad to me. As long as that 30-minute can curl up, that'd be a good sign. Hey, daily momentum's really going to take over. Looks like it for now, Amog, but a lot can happen. A lot can happen as that dollar starts to just drift down, that PCC gets a little high, and the volatility starts to say, hey, I might turn down on this 30-minute now. Every time this thing turns down, you got to pay attention. Because now you have a 2-hour that's crossed up. That crosses right back down. That's not going to be a good sign. That's going to mean, hey, positivity could come back into the market. What are we seeing as of right now? Well, a little bit of positivity come back into the market as we've gapped down. Holding within our little consolidative move here. We'll see what happens. Are we holding the divergences? As of right now, yes, you are. So that little move up is all you needed to hold that divergence. Just be impatient. Christina, you're looking at what? Is this it? Hain? You're looking at Hain here? Whoa, that's a big move up. Holy crap. There's one good thing here. You had divergence at the low telling you a 2-hour could pull up. What did the 2-hour have? The 2-hour had divergence saying, hey, this could pull up. So 30-minute helped you with that. 2-hour crossed up, helped you with that. And now you're seeing that daily momentum take over. So daily is taking over right here as that's a first cross up. You notice, and this is why I highly suggest anyone who can't find moves like these, this gave you 2 of the best signals you can get. These are the signals that we talk about in the technical indicators course. It's only $100. It's 90% off. It's never going back down to that price, guys. It's literally never going back down to that price, and you have pretty much, I'm going to make it until Monday morning. So next Monday morning is the last day that you're going to be able to get this price point on the charts here, or on the course. That is showing you what 2-hour divergence. What do you look for here when you have 2-hour that could make a divergence? Well, we want to see weakness on a 30-minute, and the 30-minute told you, hey, right here was a go. Right on this bar was a go at 620. Now it's at 894. It can help you out with even stocks that have crazy moves like this. Doesn't mean crazy moves have to happen, but when they do, you benefit from them greatly. The 30-minute didn't even cross back down. This was one of the easiest trades. I wish I freaking saw it. This was a fantastic trade, and congratulations if you were in it, because all I can say is, why is Hain doing this move? Earnings. Now, earnings is a skeptical thing, but if you're down at this area, what you can do is take some profit to break even and then just leave a couple of contracts, and those couple of contracts will be worth a pretty penny today. So that's overall how I would play earnings. If I'm seeing basing out signals and it sees the good move, okay, awesome. I'm going to take my risk out, play with house money, and now that house money turns into real profit. And I love that. So I love that look. Congratulations if you were in it. The technical indicators course would really help you out with the trade like this one. Josh says, hey, it's helpful and definitely worth it. Hey, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Josh. Yeah, if you have something good to say or bad to say, or if you think there's something that could be improved upon in the course, I'm always open to that. I haven't had the most time to really go through and make some little updates to the course, but for the most part, we've put out some regular content in there, trying to find out what I want to do next, see if I want to teach some rigged behavior, how to catch rigged behavior, how to look at PCC, how to look at the correlation between the dollar and the market. I think that would be a great video to add to that course, and maybe we'll try to add that this weekend. Took the swing trade course last night. Yeah, the swing trade course is pretty simple. It's just a, hey, here's how to get in, here's kind of how to get out, here's how to manage the trade just a little bit. But the technical, and it does teach you about, how to treat the MACD. I think that's important with swing trading. I don't think a lot of people pay attention to where that MACD is, but that really is important for a swing trade. Let's say this right now, the 2-hour for the Qs. This is a great place for the MACD to be if we're going to get that cross up. Why? Because it's in positive territory, so it's all very obvious to me. It's very obvious too. If we do this, we can come up here, we can come up here. That's what that means, right? So, but if this was just a little bit deeper, then we would have to say, okay, this could do that, but it does have more probabilities to kind of fail and give that lower high, right? If this was deeper down in this area like this, that would make more sense. So positioning of the MACD is talked about in that course. It's a very fun course. Swing trading was a lot of fun. That's how I got started. So if anyone's just starting out, swing trading's great. I would encourage you to possibly get both courses now. Thank yourself later, even if you just want to swing trade for now. Just have that course in your back pocket after you swing trade for, say, like 2 or 3 months. Then you just go, okay, now I'm ready to take that indicators course, and then you can learn a little bit more. Christina, yeah, you'd like to hear some rigged behavior? I think that would be fun. I think that would be a good thing to know, because I get questions about it all the time. It'd be nice to put it in the course so people could just go in the course, get a video that's directly like 10 minutes of, here's the PCC, here's what you need to pay attention to, how does that correlate with the dollar, and what do you need to pay attention to at the same time, and how does that correlate with the market? I think that would be fantastic. Yeah, a little bit of a fake out as we go down towards the daily expected move, not really tapping it just yet. But one thing to keep into consideration here is the Dow is holding up pretty well. So if we're really experiencing something awful, then the Dow is probably not going to hold up this well. And then at the same time, we're seeing what? The dollar is starting to drop off a little more dramatically as the market is negative with a high PCC. This tells us now, as the PCC has grown just a little bit, that we could see some kind of rigged behavior to the upside. But does that mean, oh, take a trade based on that? No, you still want your signals to confirm. We still want to see this 30-minute cross up right here, confirm those divergences as they have stayed intact, right? They have stayed intact with that downturn. Now we just need that cross up. If we get that cross up, hey, good likelihood to go up towards 479.59, good likelihood to roll up that 2 hour. But is that going to go boop and then retest, and then we see a big move come tomorrow? That's what I'm interested in as of right now. It helped me understand the MACD and RSI a lot more. That's fantastic. That's what I want to hear. Because I know MACD and RSI, people talk about them all the time on YouTube. They seem very simple, and they are very simple. But if you just understand some key elements, like in the Using Indicators course, the $100 course, 90% off. Last time it's going to be last time it's going to be sold for $100. I'm going to tell you that now. We might do some discounts around Christmas time, but it's not going to be for $100. So it's the cheapest you're going to get it. That course will tell you a lot about the MACD. It'll help you understand the MACD. I know it sounds simple. This crosses up, things go up, momentum's up, but more so the positioning of where that MACD is can really help you out in both sides, swing trading or just trading in general. Nvda is breaking out. Let's go check on that guy real quick. Ooh, good downturn, not able to fully close below 125, not even able to open up below 125. That's a key thing. We weren't able to gap fully below it. We can now use it as support. It looks like we came down and filled a gap here, and now we're heading to the upside. If that curls up, positivity is the most likely option. AMD showing that as well. What did Tesla do? That's my question. Tesla, weirdly enough, I know this is weird, but this isn't a bad thing to happen, okay? This is not a terrible thing to happen. And I'm just going to say that because this here is Tesla showing some divergence now, actually. If that bar would complete in 3 minutes down in this area, then you see some green. You would actually have points of divergence now, and that would be very, very steep. So it looks like Tesla could experience some kind of good move going forward. As long as that crosses up, I got to say that as well. As long as this crosses up, we get confirmation of the move, then it can see something good. You see the downward move here. We see it up on the MACD. We see it up on the RSI at the same time. Those are all looks that we need to pay attention to. Dollar continuing to drop off just a little bit here. PCC still remaining high. Right when people go to the put side, things start to bounce. Isn't that ironic? Don't you think? It's like rain on your wedding day. Yeah, we do get consumer confidence in a moment. That could be good news or bad news, right? Right now, it would say, hey, the stock is most likely to move down with some good news. Maybe you curl up that MACD and you see something good to the upside. We got about 2 minutes till that. Good, keeping me aware of it. Thank you. I have it up on my other screen. What do I think about SMCI? SMCI has seen some ugly price action. So what I was saying about SMCI was a 4-hour divergence. And what are you noticing here? A 4-hour curling down. 4-hour divergence would be the nicest. What you really want to see here, though, is anytime this 2-hour turns back up. If that 2-hour turns back up, we can see some positive things. I don't know what's going on with this. If the 2 hour is able to rotate back up, we can see positive things. Do we have that signal showing that that 2 hour is going to roll back up? No, we don't. SMCI really dropping off here. If it curls down on the daily, that's really going to tell you, yeah, we're probably going to make a divergence, right? So right now I'm still paying attention to a 2 hour curl up, a 4 hour curl up, all those things. But just dropping off a cliff. So consolidation, couldn't break to the upside, broke through the bottom of that consolidation, and downside is the most likely option. So curled down on a 2 hour in this area right here, waiting for that to curl back up. So if you were patient, you never took any kind of move in here, right? You're still waiting for that to curl back up to get up to this zone up here. Nvda as well, still waiting for that 2 hour to curl up. Now, the interesting thing will be is if we do see some major positivity and that happens before earnings, that's not going to be the best sign in the world. I'm just going to tell you that right now. That's not going to be the best sign in the world, but a lot can happen with earnings, right? It can really go either way. It's pretty 50-50. See if AMC is able to curl down here as well. Guy. All right, let's see what happens with the rest of the day. That hasn't curled over yet, so we'll wait just a little longer on that one. Q, same thing, right? 2 hour crosses up. The only thing I'm worried about is when this 2 hour does cross up, oh God, I'm gonna be really worried if we go like this and then turn down. If we go like that and show that look, that could be forming a double top for the SPY, right? The SPY can see that move up. What do? Well, we cut through just a little bit of that high, right? We come up, we make the daily divergence across, and then we have a 2 hour divergence in it. Right when everyone's euphoric and bullish, we'll pay attention to what the dollar is doing as the dollar is trying to base out. It literally could mean we have something really bad coming like within the next 2 weeks. So that's what I want to pay attention to. If we just base out and curl back up, that's awesome. We bought more time. But we have to pay attention to all these signals with the state of the market right now. That's all I'm saying. We have to pay attention to the signals with the state of how things are. We're noticing a lot of weakness coming in. We're noticing a rate cut coming in, and rate cuts a lot of the time do lead to what? Negativity. So let's look at that consumer confidence real quick. We see consumer confidence coming in at 103.3, so pretty high number there for consumer confidence. Yeah, PCC is now scaling up even more, really jumped up there. Dollar still remaining a little bit negative here, so not really seeing a snapback just yet. We got to wait a little bit, let that information digest for a moment. Still paying attention to pretty much the same thing. Qs, are they able to curl up on this 30-minute? Yeah, and I'm more so wondering, do we see an upward push to trap people first? That PCC looking a little bit high, volatility starting to roll down. We'll see if that rolls down on the 30-minute. SPY trying to roll up, positive move maybe there. But yeah, so you're right in saying seasonality-wise, you would say September, maybe there's more consolidation or something like that. So we'll just pay attention to the signals, though. They'll tell us a lot. This looks like a 2 hour getting by the center line. Is it a 2 hour getting by the center line? Ooh, it's right by that center line, and it wasn't able to confirm the next move up. So you really curved sideways, curled up for a sec, curled back down. No reason for upside just yet in this guy. Looks like we're really wanting to break down, but not the best overall signals, I would say. Not the best signals to try to do some technicals, right? You can see 30-minute curls up, positivity should be there. That's the main thing we would say here. Is the daily crossing over? No, it isn't, not just yet. So you're still looking at this 2 hour really close to the center line. If that can whip back around, you might have a good move, maybe to go test this high, go make a new one. But we're starting to taper a little bit more, like, whew, right? We're changing that direction. We're changing that direction. Even with this, we're still changing that direction if that can turn around. Did the 4 hour cross down. Yeah, 4 hour crossing down is a bad sign, though. So there you go. 4 hour crossing down, bad sign. So we'll pay attention if that's able to happen. I don't think that's happening just yet. No, still green. If I really zoom in, you see that's still a little bit green. So see if that 2 hour can rotate back up. 4 hour for the Qs has curled over, so we could be in an elongated pullback here. We'll find out. Move some stuff around. Just a split second here, guys. Give me one moment. Alrighty. Nvidia's trying so hard. Yeah, Nvidia's like, I want to go positive. I'm going negative. I want to go positive. I'm going negative. It could just be more consolidation going into tomorrow. Dollar dropping off even more as that PCC remains high, though. So, not a 3 hour, sorry, a 2 hour is what I want to look for. See if that thing's able to roll over. What does that mean? What does that mean overall? And this is why I don't like this look before Nvidia earnings. If we're getting signals from the dollar here, if this was to cross down, if we were to see some kind of push in the market and this crosses down, well, what would that mean? That would mean by Wednesday, maybe we end up down in this area and we create another point of divergence. I would not like that look before a big event like Nvidia earnings personally. But volatility dropping off would be a good sign. So we'll take it for what it is. We'll take it for good signs for now that the dollar is dropping off. Just know it could create a 2 hour reversal signal very quickly. So I don't think that encourages me to play Nvidia earnings. It just encourages me to maybe sit on my hands for Nvidia earnings going forward, just in case something bad were to happen. We're holding these divergences. If this traps people to the upside, we'll pay attention to it throughout the day. Maybe see a solid breakout move here, go up to something like 479. That would be nice throughout the day. Then consolidate, trap some more puts, and then end up going higher on Wednesday. Can you check Siri? Yeah, we can check on Siri real quick. Haven't looked at that this morning. Let me get a little sip of coffee going. Ooh, 30-minute crossing up here. Very, very cool with divergence. All right, so Siri looks like it's gunning up to make its next big move. Siri looks like it's about to make the move to curl up this 2 hour right by the center line. So this is that early signal. This is what you'll learn in the course. That's the best part. I know I'm talking about the course a lot throughout the month of August. I promise I will be less annoying about it later on. I just want to make sure anyone out there who is trying to learn to find signals like this one for Siri, and you could see a big move, this is the moment where you can see a big move. It doesn't mean you have to, but this is what we teach in the course. This exact type of look is what we look for in the course, and that proves to get you into moves earlier, right? Somewhere around 314, and then you see the 2 hour curl up. Then you have the 2 hour swing trade. So taking both can really help as we're going into a breakup area, right? We broke out from this area, then we came down, we're retesting it, 2 hour curls back up, good stuff, 30-minute divergence in there, I like it. You got some because you did? Well, then you like that signal, J7. You like this signal. Yeah, you really like this signal. I like this signal. I'm thinking about it. Because Siri's seen some pretty damn good moves. I'm thinking about it, man. I'm trying my best to sit on my hands and wait for something obvious. I think this is a pretty obvious play, and then I want to see if this kind of leaks into something like an Amazon, something like a AMD, something like a Microsoft, right? I'm looking for these. Microsoft wicking up, not getting rid of that divergence just yet. So I like Microsoft maybe, just for a quick play. I don't want to take something that could be more volatile like Siri. I think something like Microsoft could just see an upward move. I can make a little 100% and I can be done with my week and say, okay, my next trade was a good trade. Yeah, Tesla's acting really, really funky. Tesla's acting really, really funky. And it's unfortunate. I didn't take a play with Tesla, but it looked good. I'm just waiting for the confirmation. It confirms, unconfirms. Then now it says downside. It still could maybe turn back. It's still holding the divergence point. That's the thing to pay attention to as well. Then you can look for what. Maybe it's going to, maybe a weekly expected move or something like that. It looks like it's heading for a weekly expected move. You got a couple points until that actually happens. But it's a rough one. Snow. Yeah, that's why I'm just waiting for everything to at least fully confirm. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Snow for the most part, seeing this 30-minute. If that crosses down, not a good sign, right? Not a good sign. But let's look at this 2-hour for a second. You see that 2-hour about to curl up? We understand, because if we're swing trading, we understand the positioning of where this MACD is. It doesn't have to go all the way to this high, but we know some kind of swing move can happen here. So 30-minute crosses down bad, 2-hour crosses up good. Yeah, and you can't even manage trades like that. I get it. The frustration with Tesla. When you're seeing rapid moves like that, it's very hard to manage your trade. I get it. It's frustrating. That happens to all of us. We all experience something like that. Just try to really understand those signals. Make sure to pay attention to what is rolling up, when it is rolling up. Tesla not really rolling up yet, but is this just a flash move down to create that actual divergence, right? You still have those points. Where do I see SPY going? I think if this 30-minute goes up, if this 30-minute right here crosses, so if this crosses, that's a key thing. I'm never just gonna say, oh, I think it's going here. No, I'm gonna say if this crosses, then it's going to go most likely to 563.79, right? That's just my take. We had resistance there before, that makes total sense. If this curls up, we can see positivity. So if you asked me in 30 minutes and this was like that, and this was crossed, I'd be like, oh yeah, I think we're going towards that 563.79. But that's not happened yet, so I want to pay attention also to something that has a little bit better structure. I would say the Qs are giving major basing out structure here. If it can curl up on this MACD, where are the Qs going? Well, 480, pretty much. Typically, I'd hold it and wait, but I just want your opinion. Well, you have to, really what you can do if you get hurt by certain scenarios is go into the shorter time frames, go really, really short time frame, make sure that divergence is still holding across. You notice you had divergence here, still holding the divergence there. I don't know how long out your expiration is, but we're holding the divergence on the RSI, not on the MACD. So if this 5-minute curls up, right? If that curls up like this, I'd be pretty confident holding that. Right? You just need a little bit more time. Try not to react with the emotion that overall I think they want to happen right now. But what you're doing is you're dipping deeper into this zone that keeps seeing reactions. So you got a fake out move. Okay, that happens some of the time, right? 5-minute curls down, but if that curls back up, that can be a good sign. So it's just going with, hey, maybe it is okay, maybe I'm out for a moment, but if this 5-minute curls back up, then I know that might be a better play than what I had over in this area, even though it looked like a good setup. It genuinely did, Mojoma. So don't be hating on yourself, right? Don't be hating on yourself because this looked like a good setup. This just happens sometimes, right? A stock can move in any direction at any time. So this happens. It happens to all of us. Don't beat yourself up on it. Just say, okay, let me think of what is the best thing for me right now. If I lost all of that trade and this continued to go down, would that really hurt me? Would that really hurt me? Am I already hurt by this trade? Can I scale in if this crosses up, right? Then I see a move up to here. Maybe I just take my profit when I break even or a little bit of profit because this was a rough trade for me, right? You have to treat it with that kind of mentality of strategizing throughout your day. So I just tell you this, Mojoma. Take 5 minutes real quick. Tune everything out, really think about your situation right now with this loss that you got going on, and just go, what is the way that I can make this as least hurtful to myself? How could I not really buy back this position or build back this position or, you know, make up for this loss, but can I turn this into a positive in some way? Can I use this as an experience to be like, okay, I'm not going to lose all my money? Can I use this as an experience to scale in? Right? All of those things can happen. You're going down towards these levels, which if this 5 minute just curls up, you still have a little divergence intact down here. but that hasn't happened yet. So you have to weigh, what are you going to do before that happens? Do you just get out of the position and then get right back in? Do you hold the position and then you scale? How far out do I have expiration? All of those things come into consideration here. With this type of signal, with a little 30-minute signal like this, usually I at least have, if I bought it, say here, and I was really trying to, you know, take this before it curled up or something like that, well, then I'd at least have 2 weeks. So that would tell me, okay, if I'm seeing this 5-minute curl back up, maybe I give that a little bit more gas. Try to make that position a little bit better. Slow morning, don't know the market direction. Yeah, we haven't gotten enough price action. We still need another 15 minutes, might help out a lot. If we can see how this bar behaves as we've filled, like come up to try to fill this gap. Well, if this starts to fade dramatically, then hey, maybe we're going to that downside target. But if this starts to build up like that, then you know, okay, most probable thing is we end up testing something like 480, 479, 59 by the end of the day. That's the most likely thing there. We're seeing that dollar still reacting a little bit here to the upside. PCC still remaining very, very high. So everyone trying to call the downfall, just know a lot of the time that means things are going to start to what? Turn back around. I mean, look at things like Apple, 2 hour, what's that doing? Well, it moves sideways, it's gearing up for a good move, and it's starting to hit those highs while it might cross up on this 2 hour. Is that going to be a big move? We'll see. But Apple showing a big wick down, curling right back up. We like it if that crosses up. Okay, you can see a positive move. How positive can that be? Well, it depends on if it's going to go make a divergence or something like that. Right? If it makes a quick little divergence and that fails, well, then this will only go bloop and then fall right back off, maybe by the end of the day tomorrow. So we'll find out. But if things curl up, most of the time that's going to mean positivity. That's why it's like Apple, I don't even really like that look as much. I really like the Qs. Genuinely, I like the Qs in this look. I think this is a great signal. I still like, even though it's dropping off dramatically, it's going down towards that weekly expected move. If that would wick up at any time, I'll start to pay attention to Tesla as well. Meta in the green, a little bit surprising there, but Meta overall telling you, hey, we're going to experience some kind of bounce, some kind of consolidation, continuing the consolidation. What could we do? We could see a reaction up to like 524.30. See if there's a test in there for us. Nvda, right? Nvda curls up on a 30-minute. That look doesn't look too bad at this point, right? We've really consolidated sideways. That 30-minute curls up. Good things can happen. What would happen as well? Well, if that 30-minute curls up, you got a shot to curl up the 2 hour. Could mean a 30-minute swing turns into a 2 hour swing, right? That would be fantastic. Qs, you just need a little bit more positivity, don't you? Dollar starting to drop off just a little bit more there. We'll see if this is able to curl over on a 2 hour. So pretty much by 2.5 hours from now, you'll probably see which direction the dollar is deciding to go. Volatility starting to reject now that cross up on the 2 hour. We could see this kind of rejecting just a little bit here. If it goes a little more negative, you see how that's uncrossed. It was crossed. It keeps crossing, uncrossing, crossing, uncrossing up towards that 1683. You don't think 1683? You think I just made that up? No, it's a level I've back tested. It's pretty important. So you'll notice we'll get a lot of reactions to 1683. And look at this, boom, we're not able to close above it, boom, not able to close above it, boom, not able to close above it. We do close above it here, but notice what happens right after, rapid move down. So this level is important. If you're gonna reject here, that wouldn't be a good sign. What am I looking for? 30 minutes to roll down. 30-minute rolls down here, we should have some positivity in the market for a little bit. PCC still elevated at this moment. We got news 15 minutes ago, pretty much. So we got the consumer confidence. Consumer confidence came in pretty high. When you say I like the setup, I lock in. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying like, and the thing is, when I say I like something, it might mean I still need another hour before something confirms, something like Tesla. Something like, what was the one that we just looked at? Shoot, what was it? Was it this one? This one here. I loved this setup. Well, wait, no. What was the one that someone just had me look at? I swear there was a good one that someone just had me look at. Was it snow? Was it snow? I don't remember. No, it wasn't snow. What the hell was I looking at that looked really good? Hain, that's it. Hain and Siri, wasn't it? Hain was a great move already, right? Gave you all the signals. This is where that course really helps you out. And then Siri, though. Siri, I really like this. And it's confirmed, so I'm really thinking about it. I might wait for a little extra confirmation from that 2 hour just to make sure. But this is a great higher low setup. That's what a higher low looks like. Thank you for reminding me, guys. I was like, I've looked at like 20 charts today, but I really like this. I just would like to see that 2 hour gain a little more strength. Then I can be pretty confident with it. But for the most part, I mean, this would be my first scale-in opportunity, and I'd start to manage the trade. So I'll pay attention to it. I'll see what kind of risk I want to take. Siri's not, I mean, I'm looking at the overall market and seeing some good signals from something like Microsoft, right? So I'm thinking more like I like this one more just because I know this is a trusted stock. I know they'll use this stock to pump the market higher. So if that made a move to 420 or something, that's all I would need to make good money out of this trade. That's why I really like it. Daily divergence isn't there for the Qs just yet. And a lot of the time at major tops, you're going to see the Qs make what? A lower high. So I think this would make sense with where the weeklies are at this week, right? If we see this rapid move up to something like 494, and then we see a 2 hour divergence there, that falls, that would give you the lower high. And then in the SPY, you'll notice what would happen if we go up to that weekly expected move or see that 2 hour cross up. Well, we'd do something like this, and then we'd have a reversal signal right here and right here. So you'll have a divergence for the SPY, a downward move, or a lower high for the Qs. And then all at the same time, I know we've ignored it a little bit, but all at the same time, what's happening with XLU? You're actually seeing another daily divergence right here on the RSI. We're seeing daily divergence all the way across on the RSI and the MACD at the same time. So this is showing that if utility sees some weakness and the SPY experiences weakness at the same time, this would be a crash signal to pay attention to. Right? When they happen at the same time, it means this is a point to pay attention. We did that in the past. It didn't play out, right? It played out for a pullback, but it didn't fully play out. And then I said, we'll probably catch back up to XLU. What are we doing? We're catching back up to that XLU move so far. So we'll pay attention, see if 30 minutes are able to roll up. Maybe there's one more trap left in it because we haven't seen that dollar really start to scale up dramatically yet. Good morning, Z Shoddy. How you doing? The real estate, okay, so real estate as well, and this is important to pay attention to. We're noticing things like more that look like, say, safety, see some major upside, while the SPY is maybe going to make some kind of double top of the market or go to a new all-time high and create divergences. Now, that's key. That's key in understanding how the market cycle kind of goes, because a lot of the time you'll see a downturn in assets like tech, and you'll see an uptick in things like utilities, things like the house, anything related to housing in general. And you'll see these upturns, and then once those upturns start to fall, everything starts to fall together. And that's kind of the key thing here is you've seen that flight to things like housing and other things. As those things start to drop off and we see kind of moves from tech start to increase a little bit, and then we see those roll over, then you'll have those signals at the same time. So you have to understand people are, for the most part, putting themselves into some safety in these areas. It doesn't mean that they're safe. That's kind of the crazy part is. It doesn't mean that they're safe. What up, Tammy? Good morning. How you doing? I'm going to do a cheers for Tammy because I want to sip my coffee. Cheers. I'm going to ding this thing. Ding. Sorry about your ears. Ah, that's some good stuff. I got my Stitch mug today, so it's going to be a good day. Ah, my ears. I'm sorry. Had to do it. Tammy's here. You got to cheers when Tammy shows up. Volatility now starting to drop off even more as of right now. So if that thing crosses down, we could see some downside pressure. Remember, the Dow is still holding up really, really well. In fact, the Q is now holding up well. Something we could maybe actually look at is something like this. 30-minute, look at that. I know we don't pay attention to futures a lot, but 30-minute curls up 2 hours. Okay, is that 2 hour going to curl up? That's what we need to see from the futures here. So you're seeing this. What's happening? Well, it's getting tighter too, isn't it? So we're seeing this. Now you got that next blip down, 30-minute signal showing its face. That can turn up this 2 hour. That would be a good sign. You don't have the best divergence on the MACD anymore, right, for the futures, but you do have it in the overall market, and you do have, hey, weakness and momentum on your RSI, okay? So you did make another divergence point down here on that 30-minute. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of excited for it. And then we'll see if I can do a live video at the end of today. I haven't really put it into my schedule just yet. I'll make sure to check back by the end of the stream here this morning and make sure to let you guys know if I'll be back. Most likely I will be. I think we're seeing some interesting market behavior, and I think hanging out with you guys is a very, very fun way to look at the market. Housing prices rose in June, yes. And the reason that housing prices also could have rose in June was because of that. We talked about the rate signaling being cut, right, and the weakness in the jobs data. So that overall made those rates come down dramatically. So where you could have had a 7.4% interest rate, by the way, within like days, you were like, that's really high, the price of the house is high. And then imagine the next day they're like, okay, how about a 5.9 rate? If you don't know, every percent you save is like on average about $36,000 throughout the longevity of the loan, of the mortgage. So that tells the buyer, hey, yeah, the price of the house is high, but now I'm going to overall maybe save around $60,000 because my rate is so much lower. So that could convince some people to buy at those high prices to keep the housing market afloat, keep the housing market going higher, aka increase inflation a little bit in that market. The only problem is we're maybe going to experience some kind of recession or something. It wasn't enough to cause buyers to fly back into the market, right? The prices were still high, but that could be why you're seeing that at this moment. All right, starting to see some upside for the Q, starting to confirm that up. There you go. So that little video last night that less than 1,000 people watched, unfortunately, starting to prove itself a little bit here. We'll see if that continues. We don't want to get cocky or anything. This is just the first signal to pay attention. Now we want to look for those other stocks. We want to look for something that's maybe a little beat up. Maybe this one's a little beat up. Maybe we want to look at Microsoft. Maybe Microsoft confirming back up. I really like this play. For the most part, looks pretty good to me. Even Tesla, if it starts to build back up here, that can be a good sign. Serve, let's go look at Serve. Lizard. Lizzie the Lizard. That's one of my friends' Instagram's account, I think. Little divergence here for the 30-minute on the MACD. Not necessarily the best on the RSI. You kind of got this big blip here. Okay, but that is crossing back up right now. Maybe that's a signal of some kind of bounce that could come. Let's look at a 2 hour. We notice the 2 hour has what? Big divergence down here. So I would be paying attention right now to that 30-minute if it's going to cross up. If this 2 hour crosses up though, I'd be pretty confident in saying, hey, this daily has beat down to the center line. The next big move is coming. Okay, that's what this signal tells me. It tells me there is a probable argument to say that momentum is dying out at these levels, dying out with these lows, and you could see this daily start to curl up. That 2 hour curling up would be an early signal of that, and we haven't gotten that just yet. But within that 2 hour, you have a 30-minute little signal confirming right now. Not the furthest away from the center line, but still pretty far. So I'd be waiting to see a good move here and then going, okay, maybe I take the play on this 30-minute signal, and then I go, okay, is this going to curl back down? Do I need to manage this trade early? Is my timing just a little bit off, right? Is my timing just a little bit off? Either way, though, I could take a month out and then see how the signals play out. If this 2 hour crosses up, that's fantastic. Still decently a little bit far away from the center line, but definitely closer. But if that would roll again, then I would know, okay, this isn't the moment. Maybe we're going to make another triple divergence or something like that. So notice I'm just talking about managing the trade, but the most probable thing, if that 30-minute confirms up, if this 2 hour confirms up, especially if the 2 hour confirms up, is possibly a daily swing trade. So it's a way to get into the swing trade earlier, manage the trade before that swing trade confirms, and then you just treat it like a swing trade. I like it a lot. Dallas Fed Services revenues coming out in a little bit here. Yes, we have the Dallas Fed Services Index, the service revenues, and then we will have the Fed Treasury purchases. And then after that as well, we will get the money supply around lunchtime. So here in a few hours, we will be getting some interesting data that probably can make the market move a little bit. But for the most part, you would say they're not the most important pieces of data. The more important thing would be probably waiting and waiting and waiting, and then maybe the mortgage rate, maybe mortgage applications, seeing the strength of the market. But I think Thursday is going to be your big day. GDP, Nvda earnings, all in the same day. That's when we want to be paying attention. Let's go back over to the Qs as those are flipping to positive here, seeing if we can break through this area. Very, very cool. And then just paying attention to that 2 hour as it starts to move up. We'll see if that's able to cross. With enough good data, we could maybe see something crazy as well. Dollar still breaking down while those moves higher happen. So that's a good sign so far that this is the correct correlation, a negative correlation. That's good. And then the PCC still remaining very, very high as volatility looks like it might cross down on a 30-minute. So it looks like upside is the most likely scenario for what these signals look like right now. In about 30 seconds, we'll get a confirmation and see if this is able to continue. Thoughts on Apple and Meta? Let's look at Apple first. Apple is simple. I think it's a 2 hour cross up. A 2 hour cross up can go a long way. You're seeing all those signals right now. You actually saw all those signals back here towards 226. You started to see those above on the RSI, above on the price action, confirming to the upside. Now, if you're waiting for that confirmation, hey, there you go. You're kind of waiting for the next 2 hour bar. And then as far as it goes for Meta, Meta was the one that showed extreme weakness here. So Meta needs to turn around right now. Meta needs to turn around and trap people right now because the daily is so close to crossing. It actually was crossed down when we were at the bottom down here towards 516. So it needs to curl back up. And what I would say is an hourly curl up is what I would overall look for. But a 30-minute curl up is what I'd also be paying attention to. Now, I'd be paying attention to this because where are we testing right now? We're starting to get into that little breakdown area up in here where we broke down from. So a retest makes sense, and then we want to see if that rolls back down. As of right now, though, if that 1 hour turns up, maybe you get something like this, an overreaction, some kind of trap. We'll pay attention to that. Or maybe this is the trap and we're actually going to head higher over time. So if that 30-minute can cross back down, you know that's just testing a breakdown area. We're going to reverse again. But if that's able to build up and cross up on an hourly, a 2 hour, well, you might just go up and test these levels up here towards, what is that, 540? And I still want to check over on Tesla every once in a while. Because remember, Tesla reacted late last time too, right? Tesla reacted late last time. So if we start to see upward moves, I'd be paying attention to Tesla for the second move higher. That's what I'm going to do throughout my day. I'm going to look for this move from the Qs. I'm going to look for these moves from AMD and things like that. I'm going to look for Microsoft. And then when I want to do another play that might catch up, I might go look over at Tesla. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful, El. Yeah, tomorrow after the bell, we do get that Nvda earnings. So for Nvda, the key thing here is still the 30-minute crossing up can show positivity. That would be a good sign, right? And then maybe I need to take that and then manage the trade because I'm overall looking for a 2 hour to cross up. Now, if that 2 hour does cross up before the earnings, I have to be aware of the divergence. Does that mean I have to play it? Does that mean I have to play this divergence? Because I know earnings is a 50-50 flip. If this would set up, do I have to play it? No, this would not be something to play, in my opinion. At least in my trading style, I do not play earnings very often. If I do, it's a fun play. The only time I'll take it is if I'm seeing very, very obvious signals. And I'm talking about the golden setup that we talk about in the course. Everyone who's taken the course in my chat here probably remembers what the golden setup is. If I'm seeing that before in earnings, I will take it. And Apple is one that I've taken in earnings on multiple times because Apple a lot of the time does show those golden setups before earnings in the last couple of years, and they've been fantastic plays for me. But notice they have the golden setup. Have I played any other earnings if it wasn't a fun play with like, you know, DJT earnings or something like that? No, I'm not going to play Nvidia earnings. What I'm going to look at is what does the market look like at this point? If Nvidia goes like this, and we see some kind of look that could be a divergence, and I see that same divergence here for the SPY, right? I see that divergence here for the SPY, and then maybe I go over to volatility, and I see maybe like a 4-hour divergence setting up for volatility all at the same time. Maybe a reaction down to that 200 again, right? We see something like this, and then I see that blip. What am I going to play? I'm going to play volatility. I'm not going to play Nvidia. I can play volatility and feel a lot better about it. I can take a longer out expiration, all that good stuff. Yeah, I can show that to you, Thompson, and maybe that would help out some people who had some trouble with Tesla. So for the most part, though, you want to be seeing things actually confirm up. You are getting in on a smaller time frame, but you need to look at the grand picture. Okay, look at the grand picture here. I'm trying to get in on a smaller time frame already. So is it really going to benefit me that much by taking an early play here, an early play here, or would it benefit me the most just to make sure that move is going to happen on the short time frame? Yes, I think it would make more sense for this to actually cross up, right? Give me a green bar here with confirming that divergence on the MACD on the RSI at the same time. All right, so from there, what's the reason I'm looking at a 30-minute chart? Well, because there could be a 2-hour good move. There could be a 2-hour good move, but I'm using the shortest time frame to get into this move early. So if I see this on the 30-minute, I might get in and then make sure that that 2-hour is confirming. If that confirms, I can treat that like a swing trade. And then if that drops off, okay, I'm out of the play. I make my money. That's what I'm looking for from Tesla. So we'll wait and see if that good signal is there, and I'll try to point it out, Thompson. Just have me go check on it. If this 30-minute crosses, pretty much, if this 30-minute actually crosses, just message in the chat and say Tesla's crossing up on a 30-minute chart. That would really help out your boy over here. We'll go over it again, Hazard, once if it curls up that MACD. How about that? As far as it goes for this guy, you're seeing a similar thing. You're seeing divergence, so I assume that 2-hour has pulled back pretty significantly here. It has. This is your first signal that, hey, this 2-hour can curl up into positive territory. That's pretty much what this is saying with this 30-minute cross up here. But it is a gap, so I know that that can be like, oh, we can consolidate further. But for the most part, if this 30-minute goes positive, that 2-hour is going to go up, right? That's how it really goes. And if you want a deeper explanation, if these live videos are a little too quick for you, I highly encourage you guys to get that course this week, guys. It's the last time. It is literally the last time I'm making it 90% off, right? I think the next time I'll do a sale is not for a while. It's still going to be at that cheaper price that because I want anyone to be able to learn, but we're probably not going to do another sale anywhere near this one, probably ever again. You have till next Monday, right? Till next Monday. And if you can always email me or something like that if you're like, oh, well, I might need a coupon code because I get paid next Friday or something like that. I understand little things like that. People have told me those things before. I've sent them a coupon code, like just as long as they're honest with me and they're not like, oh, trying to just like not scam, but buy more time or something like that. It's like, no, I'll give you a coupon code, but it's only going to be available for like a day. For now, you have till next Monday to grab that bad boy. I like these signals, though. Who else is liking these signals? What I should do is we should do some polls today. Oh, nope. Should we do a poll? What question would you like answered from the community? What kind of poll would you like to see? Let's do something like that. What would you guys like me to ask? I think for now, the obvious question, the very obvious question, is this right here. We're going to put it up real quick. Nope. After the Nvidia earnings, does it send stocks higher? No, we're not doing Trump errors. There's nice reads on the features of gold. Gold here. 30-minute there, 2 hour. Look like curl up for the 2 hour for now. This is actually kind of a good thing from gold to do this on the 2 hour, kind of bottle up before we go test the actual high up here. I kind of like that, but is that going to be brief? Again, gold is something that can tell you, okay, if gold's going up, usually the dollar is going down. So if gold is going to see another upward move here, maybe the dollar is going to head down briefly and we'll see a divergence here while the dollar creates the same 2 hour divergence in the other direction. That's something I'm paying attention to. It doesn't mean gold can't be positive for a bit, but I have to pay attention to any kind of weakness in that overall move. Looks like for now we got 14 votes coming in. Nvidia earnings, a lot of people expecting that to send stocks higher. Makes sense. It's usually what happens, isn't it? Interest rates cuts, TMF will go up, but it's tanking. So as you look over at something like TMF, TNX, things like that, we'll look at TNX too here in a second if you'd like. Wait, I think someone asked about TNX, right? Yeah, TNX, we'll look at that in a moment. The reason that things like this would drop off is just because the 10-year is going up. So a lot of people need to understand that rate cuts means the 2-year rate cut will be cut, right? So as that 2-year comes down, we're heading more and more towards an inversion. So what does that mean? That means that the 10-year has to be higher than the 2-year. So at this point, you see a 2 hour divergence here for the 10-year. That can really make things like TLT suffer and things like that. So we'll pay attention to it, but for the most part, you need to understand that in a way, these two are going to have to uninvert. Look how close they are to uninverting now. So the real question is, when that uninversion happens, what happens next? Do we have the 6 to 18 months of positivity, or do we just crash right away? Kind of like back in the dot-com bubble. I think it was the dot-com bubble. You literally uninverted, and it was like that week you just crashed down. Yeah, so you need to understand, and it's not like that has to happen, but usually what will end up taking place is the 2-year will start to drop faster than the 10-year. And then those will uninvert and then hold that level, hold that positioning of the 10-year is higher than the 2-year. That's what happens a lot of the time. It doesn't mean that you can't just curl over on a 2 hour right now and see TLT and things going back up. It just means you're going to need a moment where the 10-year holds up better than the 2-year to really get that uninversion. And you're getting very, very close. You're about, what, a point off? Or what are you, 0.1 off, pretty much? If this just said 3.9 instead of 3.8, that would be higher than this. That's pretty much all you have there. Interesting stuff. I like it. 30-minute here for the 2 hour. Let's look into the 30-minute. Let's see if that thing is starting to cross. We got another bar here. It is starting to cross, so the most likelihood now showing again is upside. I mean, that's just what's happening. You're overall seeing a lot of signals that say, hey, we could see some kind of upside move from the Qs over the next day or so. And then we have to see what happens from there because we get some key things. TLT trades independent from what the Fed does. It does. It's just bond traders, right? And they're the ones that affect the yields. But the rate cut hasn't happened. So until they actually implement those type of things, nothing will be affected by the Fed, right? Everything is everyone trying to position before it happens. Usually a lot of the time it's like before the Fed even cuts, we've already reacted in that way. Correct, Joe? Yeah, okay. I didn't read the rest of your statement there. I read this last sentence. The Fed reacts to what the market is doing. Yes, and that's why there was a period of time a few months ago where we were like, are the bond traders forcing the Fed's hand, right? That's what we talked about a while back. A lot of the time you'll see the bond traders can really force the yield to go higher, right? They can force it to go lower when they get pieces of data. People want the Fed to lower. We need to see the SPX and Compex drop at least 20% by the September Fed meeting. And that's exactly what I am working on. You want a rate cut? Careful what you ask for. Yeah, and I think I like that. Be careful what you ask for. I kind of like that because you can get axed. And I think that a lot of people are reading into this soft landing BS. And sure, we've seen multiple times where rate cuts have led to more positivity for 6 months. But for the most part, after those rate cuts, it just means you're about to head into something bad. So I'm slightly thinking, just ever so slightly thinking that more and more is adding up to the next couple of weeks. We have things like GameStop earnings. You have something like Nvda earnings that can get people euphoric. You have something like the jobs data that comes out September 9th, right? So September 9th is going to be a huge date. I would still mark that off on your charts. What a difference 21 days make. Yeah, and it's more of a, once you have those higher values of numbers too, you kind of want to change your trading style a little bit so you're not risking too much all the time, right? You want to trade and you want to change that style just a little bit, right? You might more look for investments and then a couple of small option plays, right? You might want to look for a weekly turn up and then small option plays. So for the most part, that's what I'm trying to get to pretty much at this point. But I will completely, once I hit my levels that I really like, I will be changing not my trading style, but the way I treat positions. I think it's important to make sure to do those type of things. Because it's like, if you have $10,000 and you lose 20%, oh, that's $2,000. But if you have $1 million and you lose 20%, that's $200,000. It's a little bit different game at that point. Even though it's like exactly the same, it's also very different. It's kind of weird. Best 3 stocks for the most growth by the end of the year. I think that we have a high probability of seeing something bad happen in the next 2 weeks before September 9th. So it's kind of not the right time to ask. But I would say if there is going to be bullishness into the end of the year, I would look at Tesla. And I'm going to tell you one reason why. It's the monthly chart. If we are going to see major positivity and this monthly chart can curl up into positive territory, what happens during curl ups? Yes, this one had a rough one. You always got to manage that trade. We talked about that in here back when we were live. Actually, more just doing YouTube videos back then, but we were talking about how this could easily roll over on a weekly, and that's not the moment. That ended up happening. But if you notice when you're down by this center line and you see these curl ups, what happens? Positivity for months to come. So if this would give us a green bar here and there's no downturn in the market, no bad signals in the market, then you would say, oh, Tesla has a good opportunity. Do I think that that's going to happen? Personally, no. But if it does, I can change my thinking, right? This crosses up on that MACD, good things can continue to happen, right? That's what I would say. Something like Tesla. Apple event is also on September 9th. So maybe that's key too. We'll pay attention to what's going on there. Like, look at this monthly chart too. It's like, my goodness. So if you're like, this is why I'm a little hesitant, because Tesla's a tech stock technically, right? It's a car stock, tech stock. But you would say, this isn't really the look that I would like to see for me to go long for a long period of time on Tesla. This more so would be like, okay, Tesla's going to break down. So that's what I'm mainly looking for. But in the shorter term, if you asked me, I would just say, I think a lot of stocks are going to suffer sometime in the next couple of years, which isn't the worst thing for you. It means make money moves that you can just, maybe save and then be able to invest at lower levels later on. A lot of people talk about gold and silver in my chat, and I like to hear those type of things. Yeah, and I'm not leaning towards Tesla making big upward moves. I think it's got a chance to test 234, but is that just going to be a trap? Yeah, so I just mean when these two lines cross. So the reason that you get a green bar here is when this crosses. So the green bar right here is to tell you, hey, this blue line has crossed that orange line. This is an average. This is a shorter average, right? So this is the shorter average crossing the longer one. Okay. But yeah, cross up right there. Boom. That kind of just helps you see, like, because sometimes it's hard to see when they cross, but if you see a little green blip, that means they're crossing, right? Right here, it crossed. Right here, it crossed again. Right here, it crossed down. It's very hard to see, but a very small red bar can help you out in knowing if something crossed down. Let's go look over at Tesla. Yeah, so still waiting for that confirmation up, and I know there's a 2-hour swing behind it, so I know I can use this short time frame to say, okay, now I'm in early with a confirmation, and then trade it like a 2-hour swing trade. I can use a shorter time frame to see when it's probable for a higher time frame to turn up. That's pretty much what I like to do. Q's holding above. Come on, Q's. Give me a nice solid move to like 479.59, and then we can consolidate. Let's do something like that. That sounds like a good way for. Say here in the chat. We'll take roll call. I don't know why my internet's being funky. We've had a lot of storms, but we lost power a couple days ago. All right, let's go look at the thing going on here. Someone say here in the chat. Okay, there we go. For now, we look like we have 46 votes coming in. Okay, let's end this poll and take a look at what happened. We can see that as far as it goes, we had about 48 votes. We had 81% say yes, Nvidia earnings will be good, and 18% say no. Okay, so we'll pay close attention. Thank you, Robert, for saying here. I can see some of the chat now. I don't know why everything's being funky today. Tesla starting to build back slowly, still waiting for that confirmation to the upside. Nvidia seeing that pull to the upside as well. Let me get rid of some drawings up here. For the most part, 30-minute is curling up into positive territory on this bar. See if that completes in 10 minutes, and then the 2-hour cross up could be next. Maybe even if you wanted to, look at an hourly. Look at that hourly, really, really close to the center line. I really like that hourly looking pretty close to the center line there. Just notice that we did see a blip before, so you got to make sure to manage your trades, but for the most part, looks like a solid thing happening there. Microsoft, another one, an hourly curl up could be good. 30-minute kind of struggling here for a brief moment, even with the divergence, but we'll pay attention to that going forward. Netflix, great move from Netflix. Showing what? Showing that 2-hour really wants to gain some steam. Remember that hourly might be right next to positive territory. Boom, positivity, positivity continues. So it looks like Netflix is going to have that massive move up. We shall see if that holds. Yeah, Tesla's starting to give a little bit more, right? Starting to give a little bit more. 30-minute, maybe that'll curl up over time. We still have to be patient. Wait to see if things really do confirm up. Q's holding towards the top here, right? Holding towards the top of our little consolidative triangle. See if that can burst to the upside. Notice the fake out. Ooh, ugly, ugly. Let's go look over at the dollar real quick. Still drifting down just a little bit. PCC still remains high. So what would the market maker want to do in this scenario? They'd want to probably send some stocks higher, at least in the SPY and the Qs. As that yield starts to rise, you got to worry a little bit about small caps. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Jeremiah. Stock down. New poll. Let's do this one. Let's do a big one. Let's see what people's sentiment is before the end of the year. Just simple yes or no questions. Do we experience a major top before 2025 begins? What do you guys think? Do you see it in the signals? What do you think ends up happening here? Also, thought the course was great. It would be nice to have a second version or expanded version with more examples. We could do that. We could always add some more. Like, I've thought about doing this, where I make almost like a quiz, right? So I would like upload a PDF or something like that, or you just take out a notebook, and I would say take out a notebook, and all you're going to answer is, you know, true or false, or what is the most probable thing to happen here, and you kind of write out your answer in the book, right? Just put number 1, write out your answer. That, I thought that would be kind of interesting, where you actually get like a quiz type thing in it, because it would be like, okay, there is a 30-minute divergence here. It's like, what is the most probable thing to happen next if this crosses up on the MACD? And then you would go, okay, and you'd answer that the best that you can, right? You would say, oh, well, that the 30-minute leads to 2 hours curling up into, and if that 30-minute goes positive, then the 2-hour will curl up into positive territory as well, and we could see positive price action, right? That style of quizzing would be kind of cool. Or are we in the major top already? I think it's key to ask that question with only a couple more weeks left, where we're going to see some interesting signals, right? We'll see if those signals are able to produce anything. Let's see what people are leaning towards. Looks like for now we got 29 votes. Make sure to vote in there. Do we experience a major top before 2025 begins? Right now we have 62% of people thinking yes, 40% or 60%. It's about 60-40 right now. 60% yes, 40% no. Carvana's doing some good things for you. Can we cheat on the quiz? Yeah, you can. I encourage you not to, right? I'm not going to sit there and micromanage you, but Carvana curling up on the 30-minute, very, very good sign there. Let's see what's going on the 2-hour. Can that curl up and see another big upward move? We'll see. Just note that the price action's still getting tight up in here. We haven't seen that real big expansion move like we did down here. Pretty tight, right? Big move, tighter, 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 tighter. Big move, big move. Okay, so now you've kind of crept up like this, curled out that 2-hour. I'd be looking for a 1-hour curl up. Looks like you're getting that right now. So the most likely thing is the 1-hour is going to experience some positivity here. Just note you have divergences across all this, so be a little cautious with it. But if something is going to continue to squeeze to the upside, that's what you would see. SPY started to curl up to the upside. We'll see what happens with this. That hourly curl up. Look at the hourly. Look at the hourly. Doesn't that look like a swing trade? Right? Let's see. We got this big drift up, right? We get a big drift up, bunch of divergence in it. We get down by that center line. We curl up. What happens? Big positive move. Curl back down. Curl up again. Big positive move. So if that hourly curls up, we can see some positivity. We'll see though. 30-minute for now confirmed. Still paying attention to this 30-minute. If we see a little rollover, that won't be a good sign. Market crash, recession, dollar crash, Fed effed right before election. See ya, Harris. I don't know. I mean, it's like I want to talk about the market most of the time. I just want to talk about the market, but I'm just like, I'm thinking, you know, we're seeing the mosquito thing. We're seeing the Mpox. We're seeing, you know, potential for war. We're seeing a lot of stuff that could really take place. I'm like really worried martial law is going to come in at some point. Genuinely. I know that's freaky, but I'm like, man, seeing a lot of signals. Volatility is confirming down as of right now. Dollar dropping down even more. So that would tell you that buying is taking place here. One thing I like, if you're going to bring up God, one thing I really liked was there was one guy who was talking about like we undervalue God's patience or something like that. He's like, we undervalue the fact that he's willing to give more time and more time and more time to see how many people can be saved. I thought that was just interesting. That's all I'll say about it. It's like, yeah, horrible things can happen, but will he give more time? I thought that was interesting. That's all. See what Tesla's able to do here. Still struggling a little bit. Apple starting to confirm up, but starting to hit that wall. Nvda confirming up. 1.5 minutes, about 1.5 minutes left in that bar. What would my expiration be if I'm doing a swing like this one? This is one where I'd get pretty aggressive, right? This is one I would get pretty aggressive and take something like next Wednesday, next Friday, maybe, to see if that hourly can turn up, right? I would understand only taking a few days out on a play like this. This one I would understand. But I would say, you know, anytime you can curl over and just go make a stronger base or something like that. So I wouldn't necessarily do like today. But me, myself, I would more look at maybe next Friday and just go, okay, if this sees that big move like this, by tomorrow, I'd be out of that play immediately. That's how I would treat it personally. That's how I like to do things if I ever take a play with the Qs, because there's more expiration. It could be more expensive, more people trading it. So if I see a signal like this, a simple swing is all I'm looking for. I'm looking out like a week or so. But I don't do that very often. I'm not even doing that right now, to be honest. But you still want to give yourself a little bit of time, Tammy, right? You still want to give yourself a little bit of time. That's all I would say. And how much time do you want to buy is kind of what you're doing there. That's kind of part of the wager. I was thinking this Friday. Well, that depends on your risk. It's kind of like, okay, so if you see a good 30-minute move up, you just need to know to take profit a little bit earlier and be like not bummed out if you miss out on something. Two Peter 3.9. I'm gonna look it up. I'm looking it up. I don't care. Oh, I like that. But is patient toward you, not wishing any should perish, but that all should reach repentance. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Someone brought that up, and I thought it was really cool. Oh, Q is starting to get that breakout moment. I like it, George. Thank you for sharing that with the community. I like it. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. And someone was just going in detail about it, and I thought it was just an interesting conversation. I knew that it had something to do with patience. And you guys know I like patience, right? I like patience. So it's hard for me to be patient. I have ADHD. It's hard to be patient with ADHD, I swear. But I just thought that was cool. It means you can see bad things and bad things, but don't think that he can't be a patient, because at the end of the day, he wants to save as many people as possible. I just thought that was an interesting point. Whether you're religious or not, it's just a cool thing to look into. I think it's fun. Dow still holding up, and this is kind of why I wasn't too worried about the market. It was just the Dow not really breaking down. Dollar starting to see some interesting stuff. PCC starting to come down. So you'll notice what are the Qs doing? They're kind of heading up towards that daily expected move. Once we hit that daily expected move, what if some things start to turn around? What if we start to see a very high PCC, we back off, get the pullback, and then we start to head up over time, right? That's what I'm kind of interested in. Right now, do we expect a major top before 2025? 69% saying yes, 31% so far saying no. Ooh, Tesla kind of flagging a little bit here. I want this 30-minute to curl up. You still have that multiple divergence, not really the best, very curvy. You see a pullback coming? I think we still have an opportunity for some upside first still. We'll see if it's going to like consolidate for a little bit here. But if that goes positive, we should expect positivity. That's all I'm getting at. So there are no daily expected. So in order to make a daily expected move, you have to have an expiration that day. So things like SPY, Qs, anything that has a daily expiration, you can make each day. Anything that has an expiration on Friday, you can only make weekly. But on Thursday, you could technically make a daily expected move. So we do put out daily expected moves for the stocks that we do cover. We put that on Patreon every Thursday night. I think last week I was a little late on it because it was my birthday. So I think you got that Friday morning. As far as a downturn in the market, though, it's like, or a pullback in the market, I'd more so need to see people really getting overzealous to the call side, start to see that dollar increase, volatility tick up. Right now, I'm seeing kind of the opposite of that. You can obviously pull back as people take profit on the daily scale. Maybe we get a retest and then we start to head up. That would make some sense, wouldn't it? But worry not, I'm on it. Just Joe being the Batman of volatility for us. Thank you so much, Just Joe, for being here. Really appreciate it. I can't believe Amazon just gave up that signal so easily. That's kind of crazy. Microsoft like not really showing the best positivity either. But the Q's starting to like break out and hold above the triangle. Interesting. Will it be a buy? I mean, I don't necessarily pay attention to if it hits a certain moving average. Is it a buy? I don't really do that. I'm more of a, hey, what does it look like here? Is the hourly crossing up right here, right? As we move outside the Bollinger, we react down to the 9. Do we see an hourly curl up? Have we gotten that hourly pullback? Well, you have, and you're getting that hourly curl up. So the most likely thing here is continued positivity. Now you're starting to get overbought, so that can reverse back down really quickly, right? So what I want to see continued strength. I want to see this 2-hour curl up next. If things start to roll over on, say, even 30 minutes, I know, uh-oh, that's going to be a bad signal if that rolls down. So that's what I'll look for. But if we wanted to just consolidate here and then break through, that would be nice. Netflix overall was just consolidative, yeah, and now you're getting that hourly cross up. But you're already overbought. That's why I'm like, the upside moves are very difficult right now. I'm being genuine. Like, the upside moves in some of these stocks that have remained elevated are difficult because you don't have much room to the upside left unless we see something absolutely crazy from a higher time frame, like a daily or weekly. Like, you just don't have a lot of upside left, even if a 2-hour crosses up, right? We can see that if even this 2-hour crossed up, would we have a massive move? Well, you'd have a pretty regular move, but what if you did something like this and then it immediately falls, and then you have more risk to do something like this, right? That daily pullback. So that's why I'm a little bit worried about upside in general. But does that mean I'm going to stop trading? No, I'm going to look for a clear signal. This is a pretty clear signal at this moment, right? Qs are giving me a clear signal, so I like the Qs. That's what I'm paying attention to the most. All right, let's go ahead and end this poll. So far, we have, do we experience a major top before 2025? Right now, we have 66% say yes, 33% say no. IWM, now this one, I don't make daily ranges for this one because this one can really rip around, but you can make daily ranges for IWM, I believe. Still trying to understand, Shelly. We'll keep asking questions. Yeah, keep asking questions. Mainly, which course, if you bought the swing trading course, right now you're going to get some smaller swing trades, but we can answer pretty much anything in here, any questions that you may have as far as the course goes. And if it goes too in depth, then I'll try to send you an email or something like that, or we can talk in some other way. For the most part, for IWM, still looking for that 30-minute to gain some steam here. Really dropping off, though. Really dropping off. So what I want to see here is this a bigger thing than I know? Is this going to be a 2-hour bigger pullback? If that 2-hour crosses, I don't necessarily want to be saying, oh yeah, major upside. So the first thing I'd be looking at is, does the 30-minute curl back up? If this 30-minute can do this, hey, you got a good shot to do what? You can test the high, maybe go make a new one, right? But if that 30-minute does not cross up and that keeps experiencing weakness, you could be in a 2-hour pullback, right? And where could you head to? Probably a weekly expected mid. Arch, and then we'll go take a peek over at Tesla again. Tesla really struggling at this moment. Arch, I like this look. So depending on what course you took, Shelly, the technical indicators course, this is the look you're really looking for. You get a divergence really close to that center line, a bunch of divergences down here, so some fake outs for sure. Got to manage trades. Got to sneeze. Hold on. Oh, excuse me. And then we notice what? Well, we get this curl up here, closer to positive territory. Good sign that a daily chart might rotate up. What's happening here? The daily chart, it has already rotated up. You got another move lower for almost a double bottom down here. And now you can maybe see that positivity. So as long as this 2-hour remains curled up and goes positive, everything looks good for this guy. And then Tesla. Let's go check on that one again real quick. Looking for that 2-hour to curl up. Looking for the 30 minute to curl up. It's not really rolling back down. It's still figuring out what it wants to do is what I would say. If that 30 minute curls up though, what could we see? Positivity. So we're just chilling, being patient on it, just waiting and seeing if things can prove itself to the upside. Thank you for the blessings for my sneeze. We'll see what happens. It easily could do this too. 5 minute rolls over one more time, right? Because we kind of got rid of this type of look, this type of look. Now we're doing this. So you can do something like that. But I would just be diligent, wait for that 30 minute. If that curls up, positive things can happen. You have a weekly expected move on Patreon with those numbers for you. Go check on the Qs again. It looks like we're heading for a daily expected move at this point. I wonder if we start to consolidate a little bit. Dollar still dropping off, PCC still relatively high, 0.96. We need, in order to see that pullback, a lot of the time we'll need that PCC to go a little bit lower. We ever do a live session training? Well, pretty much every single day I'm giving little bits of training out there, but I have thought about maybe that's a poll we should take, because I know I've talked about it before, right? We've talked about doing one-on-ones. Would you want a one-on-one training session? There you go. We'll do that. Oh, I spelled training wrong. There you go. We'll see if people are interested in it. We've talked about it before, one-on-one training sessions, where we just do like a 2-hour session or something like that. So that way it's more focused on you. Most of the time I would like to say, if you've taken the course, it's better to do a one-on-one training session, because then we at least have a baseline. Like, I don't want to sit and go through, pretty much I don't want to sit for 2 hours and teach the course in real time. I would rather take the course. Then if you're still having trouble, we can go over some things that were happening, some trade setups that you took and what is wrong with those setups, what is right with those setups, right? I think that would be a good thing to do. So if you're interested, just let me know in the poll there. Maybe that's something we could get going for September. Yeah, we've talked about it for a long time, but as I was moving and things like that, I postponed it. Then when I thought I had time to do it, then baby girl starts to, grow teeth and things like that. But I could always maybe do a couple sessions a week or something like that if people are interested. We shall see. We shall see. And make sure, if you're not interested, mark no. We want to see who are interested. If there are plenty of people interested in the chat, it's okay to mark no if you're not interested. I don't want you to think it's bad. All right, what's this 2-hour? Hourly, probably about to curl up here. That would be a good sign. We'll see what happens. Dollar crossing down on the hourly, VIX crossing down on the hourly. So most probable thing here is positivity. Now that can, we can always experience consolidation, a little dip back down or something like that, but most likely it's going to be positivity is coming. On the hourly for Apple, as it breaks through these highs, we're noticing what? A curl up of the hourly right here, 227, curling up to the upside, looking for weekly ranges and things like that. Let me go check. So Apple could go a whole 5 points higher. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Okay, let's see here. Nvda curling up on an hourly would be fun, wouldn't it? So we're just about to maybe see a breakthrough moment here, actually. And one thing is, this is a bigger time frame, so if that 2 hours confirming, that would mean positivity is coming for the US 100. Almost there for the SPY, holding up at those higher levels. Very, very good. Palantir, what are you up to? 2 hour down by that center line. Hourly curls up here. We could probably see some positivity there as well. Maybe another reaction up. We'll see if it's a trap or something like that. As Bitcoin's been just falling off, by the way, just so you're aware. I don't know if anyone's been paying attention to Bitcoin, but that thing's been falling off. Let's look at the bigger time frames here. 2 hour, the shortest time frame I want to look like, still pointing straight down. 4 hours saying I'm pulling back for the most part. See if that can reverse back around, but not a good sign for Bitcoin so far. But it is doing something key here. We broke through this pretty clean. What's it doing? It's testing the breakout area. So if that wanted to find support, that would be the place for it. Netflix, as far as it goes, if this would say, you know, pull down on the daily scale, then I would think about it again, right? A signal a lot like this one, if Netflix could do that again and then just scoot back up, right? Do something more like this, because I don't think that's enough of a handle to really send you higher with that kind of move, right? Some kind of 100-point move. I don't think that's the case. I think this is going to get overexcited. Then maybe we dip down, and then you got to see if that curls back up, because there could be reversal signals coming in that. And then you'd want to say, okay, I want to see before if this is able to bust to the upside, maybe after earnings. GME still breaking down. Q's at 0.41 at this moment. I know I'm clicking around a lot. I'm going to leave it on the Q's just for a little bit here. Okay, now I'm going to leave it on the Qs for a bit after I checked on the dollar for a moment. It has potential to. It has potential to hit highs by the end of the year, yes, but it also has potential to go down. It's just more paying attention to what the signals look like now. Now everything looks like it's rotating down. So if someone can confidently say Bitcoin's going to 100,000 by the end of the year, that's either a guess or they have insider info in some way. Yeah, we can go look at IWM on the daily for a second here. Let's look at this on the daily. As we pay attention to this, this could be a lower high, right? So if that daily crosses over, the big thing is, look how close it is. The positioning of the MACD, something we talk about a lot throughout those courses. If that would curl down, not a good sign. So we don't want that to curl down, aka what do we want to happen in a shorter time frame in order for this not to curl down? We need a 2 hour, if that does curl down, to be brief. We need that to be brief and curl back up. Brief and curl back up, because if you start to break through here, you're probably going to start to cross down that daily chart, right? That would be a solid, decent size move down, like 3 or 4%. You start to head down, you cross over on a MACD, a lot of bad things can happen. So we need this 2 hour. If it's going to pull back, awesome. Just curl back up pretty quickly. Yeah, that's really all it is for IWM on the daily scale. And then you want to see, okay, now if this 2 hour does curl down, does that curl down and curl back up? And then at the high, what do we experience? A divergence here? That's when I'll pay attention as well for a double top or something. Bitcoin is down because the 4 hour rotated down. The momentum on the 4 hour turned down right here on this green bar. You saw a confirmation of that breaking below the lows, and boom, we head down. That's the only reason I care about. You're going to see all kinds of stuff in there. Oh, Bitcoin, this, it split mining, and that. It's like, yeah, but the momentum's going to tell you all that you need to know. Being genuine about that. Yeah, and that's where it's key. It's Bitcoin is not the market. Bitcoin is not a stock in the stock market. It still does its own thing sometimes, right? It still does its own things, and you need to pay attention. 4 hour cross down. What does that tell you right here? It tells you that upside does not make any sense. Downside makes sense. If this curled up, what would that mean? It means downside does not make sense. This doesn't make sense. But if that curled up, this doesn't make sense. If it curls up, what makes sense? That. That's all I take into consideration. I keep it as simple as possible for myself. If things curl up, should I expect downside? No. If things curl down, should I expect upside? No. So that's why we're really paying attention to right now, seeing if this 2 hour can curl up or an hourly can curl up, right? Because if that curls up, does that mean downside for the Qs? No. It means most likely upside for the Qs. Yeah, same, George. Same, George, same. But just note, that can curl down, and then we could have a couple days of positivity, like in the SPY or the Qs, and then we could see that match up. That's kind of what I'm looking into as well. All right, first little blip here for the Qs. We will see what takes place over time here. Looks like maybe we're going to experience some 5-minute consolidate. I mean, that didn't even get that overbought, though. I think you're in for something a little more than that. Ooh, really dropping off here for the Qs all of a sudden. Ooh, 5-minute rolls down. Not a good sign if that 5-minute rolls down, probably. It's a little bit more positive than the last time it curled down. That's a good sign. It means, what do we do? Most likely, if the 5-minute does turn down, what does it do? Well, we had a breakout area. Okay, we have the breakout area in this little box here. That is where I'd expect it to test. Looks like we've already dipped down into that area just now. If we get through that, then something uglier can happen. We can cross over and go negative, right? Something uglier can happen. Dollar starting to rip back up just a tiny, tiny bit here. We'll see what happens with that guy. Still most likely for upside as of right now. ANF, Diana? Abercrombie and Fitch? Abercrombie and Fitch. Do you know how surprised I was that Abercrombie and Fitch was $165 a share? Very surprised, actually. Now, the key thing here is you had the breakdown, right? We broke down, and then we quickly bought right back up. So this is crossing up. So that means more positivity can happen as long as we hold above this breakdown area. Very obvious breakdown area there. So if we can hold above that, that's a good sign. That's all I would say as far as that goes. Now we can still look at a 2-hour and say, what's that doing? It's dipping down to the center line. If you want to get a little closer, we can go into an hourly and say if that hourly curls up, hey, positivity could be there. So if we have a good breakout moment here, take back some moving averages, curl up this hourly MACD, hey, we can maybe go test these highs up here. And then we have to see what happens. If that 2-hour continues that strength, okay, then we go up. Maybe we make a big 2-hour divergence. That's when we'll be paying close attention to 2-hour charts. It is, Maria, I know. I remember someone had me look at this like months and months and months ago, and I was like, what the hell? Now, the key thing here is you still got earnings right around the corner here, tomorrow morning, so just take that with a grain of salt. All these conditions that you're in right now is pretty much 50-50, which makes sense with where that MACD is on the hourly, right? It's right in that 50-50 area. Does it cross up and see good things? Does it cross down and see bad things? Right now, I would say a little bit of an edge to the bears, but that doesn't really matter going into earnings. Earnings is always going to be a 50-50 flip. Qs aren't able to curl up on the hourly just yet. I think I do want to go into a 5-minute chart here. I want to see if this rolls over. Oh, we're vacuuming upstairs. I want to see if this thing rolls over. Yeah, we can show more examples. It's just the one that's blatant on your screen is probably the best one still to show right now. We go over it in the course a ton, and I know you said you took one of those courses. If you took the technical indicators course, we talk about these a ton, but for the most part, you just want to make sure 2 things are happening, right? Or a few things are happening. All right, you want to make sure you see the price action going down while the MACD is. If I just hold my mouse right here, you see the white dotted line. You see how that's obviously higher than this point. That's up. So that is showing a difference, right? Down versus up versus up. Right? We see that up actually. If I hold my mouse there again, you're going to see, ooh, up, okay? So what does that tell me? That tells me that momentum has weakened here. What does that mean? There's potential for a good move, and so I can say, okay, there's potential here for a good move. And then I go, okay, if that goes positive, it can roll up a 2-hour. So all I need to think of here is, this is great. This means we can reverse around that trend, and this can go positive. That's great. Does it mean that every single time I see this, that's going to happen? No. Sometimes you're going to see, what, a 15-minute just roll down for a second, then maybe roll back up. So you manage the trade in key areas, and then if that 15-minute does roll back up, you know, okay, maybe the big move is there and my timing was just a little bit off. Or maybe, just maybe, This sees a 15-minute little move like this, and then it curls back up, and you just go, okay, my timing was just a little bit off here. But it's pretty simple for the most part. I can understand if you're, I was probably the same way when I first learned about divergences. I was probably exactly the same way. Like, ooh, okay, am I seeing this correctly? If you're seeing that upward move, just make sure it's the closing of the bars. Okay, so what's the lowest point right here? It's this. So is the closing of the bar about at 474.82? And then we go over here and we see this point or even this point right here. And we go, where's the closing of this bar? This closing is at 473.91. If we want to take when we actually started curling up right on this bar right here, the last lowest bar, okay, 474.15. Is that lower than there? Yes, it is. So if I have an upward move on the MACD, I know it's divergence with the closing of those bars. Yeah, it's nice, Thompson. It's a good practice. It's a good thing to practice, especially if you torture yourself and watch it all day. Right? If you torture yourself and watch it all day, it's really going to test your patience on things like this. This is, technically, you do have divergence here. Look at the low of the bar. Look at the low of the bar here. And we do have divergence showing itself. Now, does this mean that this has to play out yet? Actually, this hasn't even confirmed. But if I zoom in on this for you, you can see, if I hold my mouse right here, isn't that higher than where my mouse is? Yes, it is. That's divergence. It needs to prove itself. It needs to confirm. Here, is that divergence? Yes, it is. It's very significant. This is why I'm really liking the look of Tesla at this moment. Not saying I'm taking the play. I'm waiting for that to confirm, and then I can see a good upward move. Has the SPY crossed over in the positive for the 30-minute? SPY has not even crossed up yet. It's really struggling here to break out. And we're trying to pay attention to other things, but the dollar is still remaining in this middle area, still down. Market's up now, so it makes a little bit of sense. And volatility still dropping down, not crossed back up. PCC still relatively high. So this all would say, hey, maybe this is just consolidation to head a little bit higher. I think that would make some sense. Obviously, doesn't matter what would make sense to me. It matters what's happening on the chart. Pullback, I mean, I don't see signs of a pullback. We can obviously see some kind of little 5-minute downturn. That's why I'm paying attention to a 5-minute. See if we can test these breakout areas. You see this little tiny box right in these highs. Okay, where are we going towards? We're going into that little box. All right, so that's what I'm paying attention to. See if we can retest that and turn back up. Don't understand the confirmation. The confirmation is just you see a green bar right here. That's it. If you want to just take it for as simply as it is, it would say, okay, if I see a 30-minute signal here, right? This is the 30-minute signal. What's the confirmation of that signal? This bar right here. Why? Because I got a green bar on this MACD. The MACD crossed, confirming the divergence. This divergence is not confirmed here. It's not confirmed here. It's not confirmed right there. It is confirmed right on this tiny, tiny green bar you see on the MACD right there when that crossed. That's the confirmation. And a lot of the time you can go deeper than that and think to yourself, is it a positive bar? Does it look good? Is it taking back the moving averages? You can do all that. That's what we talk about in multiple reasons to take a trade, right? But at the end of the day, if that crosses up, that can be a very simple signal. If you don't want to, read into it too much, you just say, if that crosses up, that's divergence confirming, no matter what that bar looks like. Did that make it a little easier, Hazard? Intel, we can go look at Intel for a brief moment here. Sorry, my screen keeps messing up, so I have to keep clicking in and out. Intel, this is divergence, right? If you really want to clean this up, make it look smooth, just like a 15-minute, you can really see it on a 15-minute getting close to that positive territory and confirming. So this is all good things. Does it mean it has to play out to the upside? No. But for the most part, you would say this has tapered really well. That's downward price action with the closing of those bars. This is upward price action with the MACD, and it's upward price action, or upward indicator action with the RSI and the MACD at the same time. So what does that mean? That means the 2 hours is probably getting pretty close to going, oh, I kind of want to cross. You're seeing those pinkish bars, right? So if those 30 minutes do prove themselves, go positive, then that 2 hours is going to cross, and then you're just in a 2-hour play. It's a way to get into moves a little easier, a little quicker, find those basing out signals. These are basing out signals right here. Just to be very clear. Does it mean it has to play out? No, you want to make sure to manage your trade. We teach you how to manage your trade in the course. We're seeing the Qs dip down a little bit. That 5-minute is about to cross. So this is where we really have to pay attention for the next few minutes here and just see how it is going to react once it reaches down to maybe even 475.95. Right, that's the lowest I think it reaches. If it starts to break below that and not wick up, I'm not going to think the Qs are going to go up for the short term. I think they're going to pull deeper down, right? Kind of like fake out to the downside, fake out to the upside, fake out to the downside, then we turn back up. Just really rip people around this morning. SPY crossing down on the 5. We'll just check on the 5. I'm more looking for, hey, this could experience some weakness, but does it hold up better? Does it hold up better? That's what I'm looking for from the 5-minute. All right, I'm going to go use the restroom just real quick. I'm going to try to stay on for another 30 minutes. I think we're having some fun this morning. It looks like we're seeing some interesting things. So I'm going to use the restroom and I'll be right back. And then rips and dips, I'll get into that in a moment. Alrighty, I came back. I ended that poll real quick. Okay, what were we getting at? Higher beta, better than low beta. Well, the only thing that higher beta really means is more so, I would say risk. I would say that higher beta means you could see probably a bigger move, but it would be a riskier move, right? So for the most part, you would say if you want to make bigger money, if you pay attention to a good signal with something that has higher beta, then you would say, okay, that could be a bigger move than something with low beta. That's how I would read into it. But do I pay attention to those a lot of the time? No, I don't try to pay attention to 30 things, right? 30 things before taking a trade. I'm more just looking at the setup. Can I have those 5 reasons to take a trade really shown up for me? Okay, they have. I take the play. And then I manage the trade. And that will keep me safer overall. If your MACD looks a little bit different, I believe I keep this relatively the same, but for the most part, it's just 12.26 on the close, 9 smoothing. Kind of important for a 9 smoothing as I have a 9-day moving average now. Sometimes we do switch that to a 5 depending on the environment. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful rips and dips, but for the most part, it's just higher beta, potential for a bigger move, but it could be riskier. That's how I would look at it. So if you're seeing a great signal and there's higher beta, then you could see a big move, but that's as long as you see like positivity. So around earnings, you might see things like that, but Yeah, we'll find out. As we're breaking down, now we're coming back down into this point. We're starting to break down below that 475.80 level. So that means we could experience even more of a pullback going forward. Dollar, what's that doing? Starting to go a little bit higher. Volatility, what's that doing? Well, it broke down. Now it might need to bust up and bust back down. We'll find out. Cool stuff. See, I like a market that actually moves, right? Well, you know, we have to see those divergences in real time. So things like Microsoft, this one not playing out, 5-minute going down, okay, we might need to manage that trade for the time being. Or 15-minute crossover, okay, we might need to manage that trade. You see all the divergences here not playing out. But for the most part, you look at the 30-minute and you go, okay, this is crossing down. It has divergences behind it. Something like Amazon has divergence behind it, but that played out to the downside. That's the management of the trade we talk about. So they don't have to play out every time. QQQ is breaking down as of right now. So you're confirming the signal. Now you're pulling back down. Very interesting here to pull back down. So what I'm looking for in the time being is, does the 15-minute cross? If the 15-minute crosses, then this was all a fake out and you might be heading lower, and then you might get another fake out to the downside. You might see this 15-minute roll down like this and roll back up, roll down to that expected move and roll back up. For now, I'm just looking at a shorter time frame to show the 5-minute is crossing down, kind of testing in that little breakout area up here is what I wanted. We're starting to break a little bit below that, so we're kind of looking for this to buy back up very quickly if this is going to see more positivity throughout the day. No rapid increase from the dollar as of right now. The SPY is negative and the dollar is negative, which would tell me, hey, overall throughout our morning, we've seen more buying or a move out of cash than we have seen, a move out of cash into assets than we have seen people going into cash. That's how I want to read into it. Starbucks. Let's look at Starbucks real quick. That sounds like a lot of fun. That move makes me worried I'm going to see divergence somewhere, okay? Somewhere in this, we're going to see some sort of weakness, and I think it might be on the higher time frames. 2 hour, okay, so 2 hour. Now, this is the start of a great move. You can continue to go higher, but you notice you're overbought. You have a curl up of the MACD, and if that curls down on the 2 hour, then the daily can really start to suffer. The daily's been going up for quite some time. You see that small divergence here on the RSI, so if you did cross over on the daily here, you'd overall be saying pull back first, and then we'd see if we can head higher. If you can't, then that thing could just go negative. You could start to really take back some of this room here with this gap, which is kind of scary because you can kind of cut through this pretty quick. So 2 hour divergence is what I see. I don't think that's a great opportunity for more upside here. It can be. You can always go to top Bollinger. Just as far as a risk standpoint goes, if I see something like this, I might go, okay, a big move can still happen, but the more likely thing is we're setting up something that'll cause a bigger pullback for Starbucks. It depends why pullback in what? Why the pullback with the Qs right now? Because it felt like it. Could just be, it's just regular market behavior here. I don't think it's anything crazy. Like the thing is, like everyone wants news for some kind of move to happen, but you'll see it in the signals first. So if we're going to experience more weakness today, then that 15 minutes going to cross over. And then you're going to see that head down, probably to a daily expected move. But what I think is happening is they want people to be convinced, or there was profit taking or something like that. I think you're just retesting a breakout area still. And so I'm paying attention if this 5-minute can rotate back up. Yeah, Luis, I'm more just paying attention to momentum. A lot of the time, momentum will tell you before the news comes out. You want to look at COVID-19 crash. You want to look at any crash. You want to look at 08. You want to look at 2000. You want to look at any of those times. Momentum always told you that it was shifting down before it even happened. Why does that happen? Someone point out, why does that happen? Well, that happens because someone always knows more than you do. That's why this market is rigged. It's because people have info that you don't have access to. Insiders have info that you don't have access to. It's like Bill Gates. If he sells his Microsoft a month ago and then you see a divergence this month, he knew that news before you did. Yeah, I think this looks more It looks like a rapid move down, like maybe some day trade behavior, but overall just a retest of a breakout area. And then we have to see, can the buyers step in again? Looks like it wants to hit the weekly range at 206. Well, you got to see if this 5-minute curls down. If that 5-minute curls down, then 206 very, very likely in that area, and then that will be a great signal, and I might even take the play at that point. But I'm still waiting to see if this 30-minute can just curl back up. You're seeing some green come in just a little bit there on the 5-minute. We'll see. For the most part, just seeing if this 5-minute for the Qs can rotate back up. Nancy Pelosi is the best trades, yes, and she knows what you know. Go look at when Nancy Pelosi has bought and look at the chart, right? And then look at the chart a couple weeks later, and you're going to notice what? A daily MACD starts to cross, right? Because that's the insider doing that. Now, if you didn't know about Nancy Pelosi at all, it would be, okay, the daily MACD crossed up, and then you get the news that Nancy Pelosi bought the stock a month ago, right? That's what you can pay attention to. And those times is just, that's just more of an example of someone has info you don't. Someone has buying power you don't, right? She has info about Nvda, therefore Nvda starts to head up over time because she's probably never going to be wrong. I'm not one of those people that just sees, oh, Nancy Pelosi bought something, so I'm going to buy something. Like, that's not who I am. I still say, okay, I can pay attention to that stock. Maybe I need to watch Nvda. She hasn't sold her calls on Nvda. She's made millions of dollars, like $10 million last week off Nvda. So maybe I need to pay attention to this. Is she selling before earnings, or is she buying before earnings? Is she, all those things can come into consideration. You mean like a rich person? Yeah, I mean the buying power of a rich person and the connections a rich person would have. It's more about the connections too. It's more about the connections to know that info rather than just being rich, right? Not necessarily. I just have my stocks that I know about. I know how to read into their info. If they have a piece of news, I know how to read into it. If someone says, oh, cell phone sales were down, it's like, yeah, okay, I know how that can perform in the stock market then, right? I stick to stuff that I know. I'm not going to trade a healthcare stock or a health stock just because if the signal's good and I like it, yeah, I might take a play every once in a while. But am I going to trade that consistently? Probably not, because I don't know about a new vaccine that's going to be released, and I don't know how that's going to affect the stock exactly. I could research it and do things like that, but I want to sit where I'm comfortable and, deal with stocks that I know about. What they vote on before people know? Yeah, she literally voted on that AI chip, like whatever that package was. And right before she voted on it, what did she do? She bought a bunch of Nvda like a year or so ago. And then what happened to Nvda after that act? Well, Nvda went up by like, what, 150% over the next 6 months? So that's where we need to take that out of our system. That needs to not be there. You're already making 200 grand a year for standing there and, making the dumbest political moves I can see in a long time, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. I just think half the time they don't even show up. There's some kind of meeting, there's some kind of this. They like half the people just don't show up, and I hate that. It's like it's your job. You're getting paid 200 grand to not show up today. Like, what the hell? I hate that. I hate that so much when you go and you watch something with Congress or something like that, and half the people just aren't there because they didn't want to, or they were going to vote no regardless or something like that. And it's just like, at least show up, man. It's like the reading of the Constitution. 0 Democrats showed up for the reading of the annual reading, the moment where they have an annual reading of the Constitution. That is upsetting to me. But does that really affect the market in some way? Well, the things that they vote on do. So if they're not showing up to certain votes or they're voting in a certain way, that's what can really affect it. No, they're not going to be punished. They're not. They control the punishment. That's the problem. It's like when everyone's in bed together and they control the punishment, then it's like, oh, how much do I want to punish myself? Well, I made $10 million in the last week off Nvidia. Find me $1 million. Sorry, I had to itch my foot, so I was really close to the mic. But yeah, it's like, find me $1 million. Like, does that really hurt them? And then guess what? Where's the fine go to? Where does the fine go to? Can someone answer if Nancy Pelosi was fined for insider trading, where the fine would go to? It goes back to the government. So it's like, oh my God. It's just like, does it go to taxpayers? Fuck no, it doesn't go to taxpayers. Do you ever see a check? That's the important part. Do you ever see a check? Nancy Pelosi was caught in $1 billion worth of insider trading. Did you ever see a check for $1, $2? Nope. All it does is go back to the government. They can then put us into more debt, pat themselves on the back because they caught someone insider trading. The fine is paid by the taxpayers. Well, we pay her salary, and a lot of people probably lost money in Nvidia, so there is an argument for that. Congressional activity budget, yeah. No, they need to make fines by how much money you made in the stock, and you give all that back. And then it should go to community platforms, not the government. It should go into communities, I think. But we don't really have those community platforms anymore because the government's getting bigger, which is apparently what most people want. I always say this, convenience. Convenience has been the death of a lot of things lately. Yeah, you should lose your job and have to pay back the full amount that you made. That's what I think. It's like, hey, we caught you stealing $1 million. We're gonna fine you $100K. You get to keep $900,000 worth. And if you lose your job, now you're not an insider. You still have the connections. You can just sit there and use your connections and make money. And now it's not insider trading. I just think it's a mess. Goes to Congress Miscellaneous Fund. It goes to the Congress Private Jets Fund, where they can fly to wherever they want. That's pretty true, William. I don't mind that. I don't mind that standpoint. I actually, for insider trading, I think they should just take the full value back and then not send them to jail. Why would we waste taxpayer money more? You already hurt the taxpayer because that person was able to steal it from the taxpayer. I'm assuming they screwed over retail because it's in the stock market. So I would more so say, don't send them to jail where the taxpayer has to pay for all their lodging. I would more want them to just have to give all their money back, lose their job, and start completely over. I think that is, and America is still a great place where you can still grow from the bottom. So good luck to you. Hopefully you save some of that $200K a year salary. All right, let's see if the keys can turn back up on a 5-minute after testing that breakout area. Tesla does not want to confirm, not just yet, but that 5-minute's starting to look a little rejecting, doesn't it? Looks a little rejecting. Still waiting for that 30-minute to curl up, still holding the divergences at this point. This one already confirmed, 15-minute not rolling, 5-minute rolls back up. Come on, little 5-minute push higher. Let's just see how this is behaving, because right now it looks a little flaggy. You want the Coliseum back? At least I'm glad you agree. We're on the same page. If you disagree, no hate towards you. I don't care. This is about stocks at the end of the day, right? Global leaders have a tiff? Throw them in the ring. I like that. Would be entertaining. You're talking about making some money. That would be a way for the government to make money. Like a government fight club. Oh man. I'm sure those actually already exist, by the way. Volatility turned up on a 5-minute. We'll see if that can rotate back down. Still looking a little flaggy here though. Aren't they making like a girl version of Fight Club or something? I think they are. Not to sound negative about it, but we all know how Ghostbusters went. To look into the Richmond manufacturing numbers today. Your report, curious what your take with it, considering the few weeks before expected rate cuts. Maybe a good topic for tonight's video. Let me see here. I encourage you to look at the Richmond manufacturing numbers. Whoa. Deposit manufacturing index in the US Fifth District fell to minus 19. Pretty serious spike down there though. So I noticed that in COVID of 2020, that's the first thing I wanted to look at was crash scenario, and that thing dropped dramatically in 2020. Let's see right here, October 2023, that started to come down, but that was when we really bottomed out. I'll look into it a little bit further. Are essentially saying borrowing costs are too high, demand is dropping, and they have fired 300% more people this month compared to last month. That is crazy, but remember, unemployment is low. Jerome Powell said unemployment's low, though. And I listen to him wholeheartedly. I think I'm gonna follow him into the fire, you know? Rate cuts are gonna be a soft landing, and unemployment's super, super low. No, SOM rule triggered. No. Unemployment's low. Jobs data revision. Oh, that didn't even happen. Sorry, he didn't bring it up. He didn't bring it up, so it must not be something to worry about. Just the biggest reversion since 2009. Yeah. No, we're probably going to experience some very bad things once this rate cut actually takes place. But it hasn't happened yet? No. Have we experienced that yet? No. Do we see reversal signals yet? No. No, he said the opposite, Jeremiah. He said the opposite. He said that it is good. It is at a fine level. But we also don't want it to increase from here, you know? So you don't want it to increase. All right, volatility still looking like that. Dollar trying to scale up. We got the PCC remaining high. SPY wanting to test that breakout area. Okay, Q's testing their breakout area. We're just sitting now. Exactly, Luis. That's kind of what we're talking about. Yeah, we were more just talking about because we watched Jerome Powell live. And we were more talking about how he just blatantly isn't bringing that up. He's blatantly saying unemployment is low. It's low, but it's increased by almost 1% over the last 6 months. It's like, yeah, that's still low, I guess. It's like, yeah, it's still low. But the whole point is this is what you see before it starts to scale up dramatically. Oh, yeah, don't get it twisted. I was being sarcastic. I got to turn the camera on when I'm being sarcastic or something. Really just flagging out for now. Yeah, wages aren't keeping up by any means, but if you go click, I dare you to go type on YouTube and be like, how are wages holding up compared to inflation? I bet every single article is going to try to talk good about it and say they are keeping up with inflation. But then I go to the grocery store, and I'm going to tell you right now, pretty inflated. Thankfully, we're traders, and we trade the stock market. So if we've traded this correctly, we should be keeping up with inflation technically as stock market traders. Two more bars for the confirmation. Let's go over and look at Tesla briefly. Finally seeing, ooh, we still need a little bit more positivity. I feel like the next hour for Tesla could be important, but this could just hold sideways until the end of the day and then see something big at the end of the day. So we'll probably do a closing live stream again. So make sure you're subscribed. Turn on those notifications because we might be back later this afternoon. So what did Apple do? Apple kind of retesting that breakout area as well. Mainly could come and retest 227 still. 15-minute, not even that overbought. 2 hour just now crossing up too. Interesting. Do we just struggle until Nvidia earnings? Oh, do I still have that pull up? My bad. Let me turn that pull. Oh, I don't have the pull up. Okay, good. Can you feel it? This Palantir and the SPY look pretty much the same. We're still seeing if that 2 hour can really curl up for something like Palantir as well. Q is starting to zero out. We're still seeing if this 5-minute is just a pullback, as that is pretty positive. If this can load. Qs don't want to load for me. There we go. It's still positive territory. We're consolidating here, so we'll see if there's some kind of buying up. We just got to see if that's just a pullback or if there's something to more read into. If this was profit taking real quick or if there's more to read into here. Chewy earnings. Oh my gosh. With AMC so close, God, it's just like any big event that can show positivity. Just to create that buying could be awesome. All right, guys, well, let's chill for another 4 minutes here. Let's see how this bar shapes up, and then I'll have to hop off for a little bit. I most likely will come back for a live stream. Don't bank on it, but make sure to have those notifications on because we might be coming back later today. And then we'll try to put out a good YouTube video so you guys can... I think I have some more time later today where I can put out an actually good YouTube video. I feel like my YouTube video last night was so rushed. I was like, shit, I gotta talk about these things really fast. Usually I like to look at charts for a solid, 30 minutes to even an hour sometimes to really try to figure it out to make sure what I'm saying is what I want to get across. So last night's YouTube video, I was like very disappointed in myself. But, it is what it is. Tonight I have a little bit more time. Drowning deep in the sea of learning. How could you give it to me? Enemy. What for this 5 minute to cross? All right, Tesla. Looks like we're starting to do the thing. Let's do the thing, Tesla. Let's do the thing where you go up by 10 points and make people some money. Let's do that thing. That thing sounds good. Let's do that thing right now. Let's go up 10 points from here. Let's just do it. Me and you, bud. Me and you, buddy. Me and you with that rejection. Me and you. Still waiting for that 30 minutes to cross, by the way. I do not have I want to make sure that's clear. I do not have a position in Tesla. Just saying. Uh-oh. Was the trap set? We shall see. Mainly just a retest. I don't know if it's necessarily a trap. More of just a retest in that area. Volatility, see if that's able to rotate back down. SPY, roll back up. Qs, roll back up. Even IWM, we'll see if this can start to base out and head to the upside. It is a 5-minute chart. We're just paying attention to the little moves here. Waiting on the Tessie. Double buy signal on the QQQ at a higher level too. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking from this was all just a retest. I think you're more likely to still end up towards that upper expected move than the lower one as of the signals right now. Obviously, a lot can change by the time we come back live later today, but we have some things to pay attention to, and I would say it's if the Qs can curl back up on a little 5-minute like this, then that 30 minutes not going to cross back down. That 15-minute is not going to cross back down, right? 15-minute crosses back down, we could be in for something a little uglier for now. But if that 5-minute crosses up, then how likely is that 15-minute to cross back down? Probably not, right? Probably 0 likelihood. Joe Jacks returns. How about Tesla? I actually really like the Tesla signal still. I'm waiting on it. Still trying to be as patient as possible. Really wait for the confirmations in a market like this, but I do like this sort of signal. What I'd really like to see is a run from the Qs, right? A run from the Qs. That would be nice. Maybe make some profit in this thing or something. And then take that profit at the daily expected move and apply that into Tesla if that starts to rotate after, and I can do a 2-week to a month out play on that. I like it, Joe Jacks. Joe Jacks always coming in just for that verification. I love to see it. But yeah, I like the look. You just got to make sure it's like, okay, is this actually crossing up? With the environment we're in, we have Nvda earnings. This could, like, consolidate further into Nvda earnings. But I think you're most likely to see some upside, throughout the next couple of days. So we'll see. AMD confirmed back down. That's unfortunate. Right, it's starting to curl back down. That is unfortunate. Now you do have tapering off here, very flat. So as we zoom into a 15-minute, what do you notice? Well, now you have that upward move here. So if that 15-minute can gain some steam, maybe the timing was just a little bit off, right? And Joe Jacks, thank you for the $9.99. Looking at Tesla today. Thank you. Really appreciate it. The financial crisis cycle from 2007. Yeah, is that where just maybe clarify for me real quick, happy Friday. On the daily scale, we kind of made that kind of squeeze type move up to the upside, and then we slightly cut above that all-time high, and then we started to crash down. Was that how it played out, happy Friday? Try to remind me real quick. I don't really want to keep zooming in and out of charts. I really want to focus on this for now, but I'm pretty sure what happened was we barely cut the high for the SPY. The Qs almost gave a double top. I'm pretty sure. I'll go back and look at it. Maybe we can talk about it for Saturday's video. But yeah, the crazy part about even the great financial crisis, right? The housing crisis, 2007, was you saw a daily divergence confirm, and then that next week you actually saw the news articles posting it. So it's very, very cool. I think it might have been even monthly. Fake breakout, then yeah, that's what I think we might experience here, actually. So I guess that's what I'm leaning towards, is a repeat of that. Some kind of 2-hour curl up that starts to trap people. And thank you so much again, Joe Jacks, for the $10 or $9.99. I can't give you that extra cent. It wasn't $10. It was $9.99. Okay? No, thank you so much, Joe Jacks. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you're paying attention to something that I'm paying attention to right now, which is Tesla. Just being patient on it. But for the most part, what I believe will happen is 2-hour divergence goes like this, and I think we see a 2-hour here and things could get ugly. It's just a point to pay attention. And if we were going to break down like we did back in 2007, then this type of look would make sense, because that would form the divergence across as well. And we've talked about that a lot over the last week or so, and I think that's still what I'm leaning towards. Really? I'll have to go back and look maybe in my free time throughout the day. Right now, just trying to pay attention to what's going on at this moment, seeing a 5-minute, try to build back up. Let's see if we can see another breakout to the upside. Dollar started to drop off again. Notice this, dollar dropping off again, SPY starting to move higher, volatility doing what? Dropping off again a little bit here. So this all could just be a retest to then break through, make a new high, right? We'll pay attention if there's like a 5-minute diversity here saying there's going to be a bigger overall pullback from this area. That would be a bigger pullback, right? So we'll see if that creates anything here. But I think you're still likely to maybe hit a daily expected move by end of day, right? That could happen. You know, they could do this and do this, let those options close. Oops, I just like dotted like 6 times. Let those options kind of close out, right? And then boom, at the end of the day. You more look for like candles that could signal distribution, candles like, as far as looking at candles for reversal, I don't necessarily pay too much attention to that. I'd more look for those follow through kind of days and things like that. So for the most part, you would say like in this overall upward move, where were your follow through moves? Okay, so here you had this moment here. Okay, boom, we really followed through. And then we had consolidation, then you had another follow through. That leads to more upside. So follow through, more upside, another follow through, more upside. Fantastic. Now you're seeing what? Distribution possibly turns to the downside. So this can get ugly. But I think we need to see another, say, follow through day, get another day of positivity, and then we'll see if there's any signals in this area. But yeah, for the most part, I'm not trying to read too much into how the bar looks. I'm more reading into how the momentum looks, if that makes sense. So just wait for me to return before moving higher. Here I am. Let's go, Just Joe. I'm having some fun this morning, actually. I really want to stay live. I wish I could. I wish I could stay live longer this morning. I'm having some fun with it. Yeah, I take momentum into serious consideration. Now, when momentum confirms up, right, I want that to be a positive bar, right? I don't want that to be, oh, momentum confirmed up and the bar looks like this. A lot of the time, I don't want to see that, right? I do not want to see that, you know, and be like, oh, that's going to be positivity. I want positive all around, positive bar, right? This is plus 0.4. 0.04, okay, we've crossed up on the MACD, okay, we've crossed up on the RSI. All of those signals together can lead me to believe there's high probability for positivity. So I will pay attention to the bar, but more looking at how positive it is. Did the whole move fade? Did this happen? Did that happen? Because sometimes you'll see a bar like this, right? Something like that. See it cross up, but then see a bar that's negative and it's on a cross up and you're like, okay, that doesn't look like the moment, right? Because we just saw a bunch of sellers step in. And then the next bar, you get a good one and then you go, okay, that one's positive, and then you'll see the positive move after that. So you're still looking for mainly, I would say, follow through type behavior, but Q's here trying to base out on the 5-minute. We'll see if a 5-minute curl up is on the table. For now, guys, it is 11:06. We've kind of gone a little bit longer, and it's 11:06 for me. I'm in the middle of the country, so I know it could be a different time for you. But I will most likely be back by, yeah, I am, Banana Sam. I've been having some fun this morning, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed the stream. I will most likely, for Nvda, I think it's overall bullish leading into the earnings, but anything can happen with earnings. That's how I want to treat it right now. 2-hour curl up for Tesla or for Nvidia would be a good sign today. That's all I want to say about that, really. But earnings 50-50 flip. So for the most part, guys, I wanted to just make sure to say thank you guys for showing up this morning. We most likely will be live this afternoon for the last hour of trading. Okay, that rigged hour, that power hour. All right, so we'll pay attention to that for you guys later on this afternoon. But I really appreciate you guys being here today. Thank you guys for showing up. Really appreciate it. Liking, subscribing. You guys are fantastic. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Most likely we're going to be trying to put out a ton of content over the next 2 weeks, a ton. And that's just to keep us aware. We got to be aware of what's going on out there. It really looks like, hey, we could be mirroring something like 2007 and just so happened. Like I haven't really looked back at it too much, but overall the setup that I'm looking for, as someone has pointed out, is very likely looking like 2007. Maybe we can talk about that a little on Saturday, but for now, make sure to have those notifications on and be tuning in. We got some interesting stuff happening across the board. AMC showing a little bit positive, but nothing too crazy there, so we'll pay attention to it. But turn on those notifications. We'll be back later this afternoon. I hope you guys have a great day. Go get yourself some good lunch, and let's get back into some technicals later this afternoon, all right? Peace. Just so you know, when you see that, that means I'm either bathroom break or gone, okay? See ya. Jeremiah, thank you so much for the $1.99. Turn the stream off now, guys. Go get yourself some lunch. Have a good day.